to go! GNCC Racing!
It is round number 9 here in Dunkard, Pennsylvania. We are here for the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized. Alicia, we're here at the VP Racing Fuels High Voltage GNCC. We're here at a new property. We've never been here before. I believe they may have had some local races, but first time for a national. Seems to be some pretty beautiful sights here. I mean, everybody seems to be loving it.
Absolutely, this place is spectacular. And one of the cool things about this property, you actually race in West Virginia and Pennsylvania. I mean, we're right on the Mason-Dixon line, so just pretty cool to be in 2 states at once on one racetrack.
Yeah, it sure is. Now, this place seems to be, it's going to be a good one. Might stick around for a long, long time, for many years to come. But anyway, let's get into the racing. Let's talk a little bit about what happened 2 weekends ago at the Snowshoe GNCC. Walker Fowler was able to come away with probably one of his biggest wins of the year. I believe it was a little bit over 1 minute, getting close to 2 minutes even.
He was a man on a mission for sure.
He sure was. I mean, he got the whole shot, and I don't think he ever dropped back to second place. So big race for him, and the battle from 2nd through 6th was a vicious one.
It really was. Bryson Neal and Chris Borch rounded out the podium, but not without a fight from our 4th place and 5th place finishers.
Yeah, I mean, we had Bryson Neal, Chris Borch, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and Cole Richardson all battling for that number 2 spot, so things were heated all day long. So I would expect another battle just like that today, except for that number 1 place spot.
Absolutely.
And for the first time this year, we have a new winner in the XC2 class.
Yeah, we did. Drew Landers was able to secure that win for the first time this season. I think it was actually his first win in XC2, so pretty exciting for him. I know John Glotto Jr., that was his first loss this season. It wasn't really a loss. He still came out in 3rd, but I know he wants to be up top and consistent. Jordan Poplowski, he was in the 2nd place spot again this time. I mean, he's really putting in a good season.
He's got a lot of consistency as well, just like the other 2 that were on the podium there at Snowshoe. John Glotto, just a bad first lap, I think set him back a good bit, ended up in the number 3 spot, so he did lose his win streak there. But other than that, I think we want to talk just a little bit about points. I mean, I know Walker's been pretty dominant all year long, and still leading points, going to continue to lead points at this rate.
Yeah, he's got quite the lead right now.
Chris Borch, though, back to the number 2 spot. He's had a long year of battling 4 wins. He's got a win in the season, but he's now number 2 in points. We got Bryson Neal in 3rd, Cole Richardson in 4th. He's had a couple ups and downs. That 6th at that last race really hurt him. A lot of good battling in the points. Still got quite a few rounds left. I think it's 5 rounds left for the year. So we're anxious to see who ends up where, what kind of changes are made throughout the rest of the season. But that'll do it for us right now. But let's head on down to Bolton for a track description.
Thanks, guys, and welcome to the High Voltage GNCC and this week's Yamaha track description. This is uncharted territory for the GNCC crowd, and although we're right next door to the Mason-Dixon GNCC we'll race later this fall, this course is a lot different. There's some really fast field sections out here, and there's some really tight woods for the ATVs, which also means some medium speed woods for the bikes, and we're throwing in some tighter bike sections as well. It's going to be a beautiful course. There's great flowing woods. Like I said before, there's some tight woods, so there's a little bit of something for everyone out here. About the only thing we don't have is really deep mud. Actually, it's been dry all week. The only bit of rain we've got was just a few sprinkles, and it's going to make this track one of the best we've seen all year. That's this weekend's Yamaha track description. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Bolton. Looks like a really cool track out there today.
Yeah, it sure does. Looks like it's going to be a great first year at the High Voltage GNCC. Looks like an awesome track. Racer TV coverage continues down at the starting line with Mr. Rodney Tomlin.
Thanks a lot, guys, and the electricity is overpowering here today as the High Voltage GNCC is set to roll here from Warren Lilly's pad on the Pennsylvania-West Virginia state line. And, of course, as we get set to roll into this one, the summer break is next. And one rider that would love to take home a big explanation point as far as the summer break is concerned is this guy right here, the sneaky snake, Jared McClure, who is actually from right here in this great state of Pennsylvania, a little further east, Jared, but I'll tell you what, man, and you're ready to strike, and you're ready to make things happen here today.
Yeah, it's always cool to be in Pennsylvania, home state. So looking to go out and try to get that win. It's been tough to beat these guys all year. We had an up and down season, but track looks pretty good. I heard there's a lot of tight stuff out there. I usually do well in some of the tighter stuff, so looking forward to that. Also a good mix of fields though too. So we'll see what happens. Looks like might get a shower here late in the race, so that could make it interesting.
It most certainly could. The big question right now, is the Sneaky Snake going to strike? I'll tell you what, we'll find out whether or not he's got one in him in about 2 hours. But of course, before we do that, let's take this opportunity to meet our starting lineup for this VP Fuels High Voltage GNCC. Rolling to the line first today, he rides aboard the number 1 with 6 out of 8 wins in 2019. Riding aboard the Yamaha GBC Tires Fly Racing backed Yamaha from Rogers, Ohio, Walker Fowler. Rolling to the line second in points today, riding aboard the number 3. He holds the record as the most wins record at 75 from Sunbury, Pennsylvania on a Maxxis Fly Racing Yule Cycle Barn back Suzuki, Chris Borich. Rolling to the line next today, riding aboard the number 4, one of only 3 riders taking a win so far in 2019 from Bidwell, Ohio on a Landsmill XCC ST Tires Hauser Racing Yamaha, Bryson Neal. Rolling to the line 4th today in points aboard the number 5 from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania on an Action Off-Road GBC Moto Wash back to Yamaha, the Coltrane, Cole Richardson. Rolling to the line next aboard the number 521 from Waverly, West Virginia on an Ober Moose Racing Parts Unlimited McGill Mafia-backed Honda, Adam McGill. Rolling to the line today, 6th in points aboard the number 2 from Casca, Pennsylvania, the Maxxis Elka Moose Racing backed Honda, the Sneaky Snake, Jared McClure. 7th in points today, riding aboard the number 9, hailing from Newfield, New York. He's the rookie on the Maxxis Ithaca Recreation Sports WPS Fly Racing backed Yamaha, Hunter Hart. Rolling to the line 8th today, aboard the number 12 from Aurora, Ohio, celebrating his 25th season as an XC1 Pro on a GBC Fly Racing HMF factory-backed Yamaha, Johnny G. Johnny Gallagher. 9th in points aboard the 741 from Myersville, Maryland on a Ryland Johnson Racing GBC Motorsports GL Cycle Barn back Suzuki, Wesley Wolf. Rolling to the line next, 10th in points, riding aboard the number 11 from Akron, Ohio. Riding on a BNR Motorsports, GBC Motorsports Hauser Racing back Yamaha, Josh Merritt. Rolling to the line next, he is currently a top AMA Pro ATV motocross racing star, making a visit here today in his home state from Seneca, Pennsylvania, to Phoenix Factory Racing Honda, Kid Dynamite, Joel Hedrick. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 7 from Richford, New York on an MCR GBC Motorsports Moose Racing Honda, Marty Christofferson. Rolling to the line next, riding aboard the number 14 from Ithaca, New York on a Custom Axis Goldspeed Hauser Racing Yamaha, Greg Covert. And last and certainly not least, riding aboard the number 201 from Carroll, Ohio on a Pierce Performance Moose Racing 560 graphics backed Yamaha, Cody Collier. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this, the VP Fuels High Voltage GNCC. Riders are finding their way onto the starting line now as we get set for a 2-hour racing that is, well, going to be off the scale. It's going to be a hot one. It is July, my friends, and it is summertime. The humidity is up, and of course, so is the anxiety levels as we're all ready to make this next 2 hours happen. The temperatures are up, and the big question is, will the rains fall? We've already had a couple of quick showers move through the property. Track crew tells us half the track is covered in water and a little bit of slime and slick. The other half of the track completely dry and has not seen a drop, and that's kind of fitting considering we are on the Mason-Dixon line. Well, this track will take you into parts of West Virginia and Pennsylvania throughout the course of this race here at Warren Lilly's place, like what I like to call Warren Lilly's pad for this VP Fuels high voltage GNCC. And you look around, you see why it's high voltage, my friends. All these power lines, the power stations here, we got the power ready to be put to the ground and through the woods and through the fields here as Ricky Towery lets these riders know we're now down to just 1 minute away from the waving of that green flag and the starting of this inaugural run for these XC1, XC2, and A and B riders here this afternoon. The inaugural run of this high voltage GNCC. Well, once again, as the long summer break awaits in only 2 hours, a lot of folks are anxious to get this one over as they begin to look down that first turn now and stare up into that first turn region where we see the blue flag a-waving. Ricky Towery says, shut them down, guys, shut them down. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. It's almost time, ready to go. And I got to ask you, hey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia race fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? That's pretty doggone good. That's real good, actually, and I'm pretty proud of you. But with that kind of reaction, and I know where we are in the heart of GNCC Racing Nation itself, right here on the Mason-Dixon line, I got to ask you folks one more time. High voltage, are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds, and row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at the VP Fuels High Voltage GNCC. Around the first turn, $250 up for grabs, and it's the number 1 of Walker Fowler dressed in red, white, and blue up front. And the 88 of Joel Hetrick, almost second place, now dropping back to the number 3 position as we roll into turn number 3 now. It's the XC2 Pro-Am, Drew Landers, Tanner Walker, Jordan Poplansky, Matthew Blankenship, Charles Dunn, Kenny Schick, Danny Rogers, Ben Kowalewski, Dick Royalty, Wyatt Wilkin, Chris McNallen, John Glotta, Ronnie Rush, and Devin Masters, all ready to roll in 10 seconds. XC2 Pro-Am off and rolling. Another $100 hole shot up for grabs in our GBC Wiseco All Balls Hole Shot Award. And at the hole shot stripe, it's the 17. Oh! Drew Landers, what a get off there. He got the $100. He got the hole shot. He also coming off a win in Snowshoe a couple of weeks ago, but what graceful moves he had in the air, bounces right back up and is ready to go as we're ready to roll with the Junior A 22 plus class. Josh Haney, Emily Wise, Justin Miller, Luke Shepard, Tyler Palmer, also Bruce Weiland, Nick Davidson. 10 seconds. Alex Elioff, Ben Danner, Michael McAvoy, Chandler Berner, Caleb Edwards, Andrew Phillips, and Jeremy Ladon. Around that first turn, here we go. And it is the 36 of Josh Haney from Upper Black Eddy, Pennsylvania, an ACR GBC Tires Fly Racing back ride. That A30 plus class coming up next is Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens, along with Chris Conklin, the Marlboro Man, Todd Muscala, Dirk DeCesar, Michael Lancaster, Brad Whitehead, and Kenneth Kelly, ready to roll in this Vet A30 plus class in a matter of only 10 seconds. And those GBC tires of the 21, a big Papa P. Jeff Pickett's hooking up as he rolls into that first turn and out front into the second turn now, picking himself up the early lead with the 807 of Michael Lancaster out of Morgantown, West Virginia, hot in tow. Senior A 40-plus class coming up next. Michael Hayes, John Salsa, Tom Barrett, Yuri Cockergen, Mark Batson, and Brian Shaw. Ready to roll in 10 seconds. How about it? Michael Hayes gets a great jump out of Rocky Face, Georgia. Oh, he pinched off in that first turn. Who's it going to be out front? It's going to be 451. That's Thomas Barrett from Morrisville, New York on a Rick Snyder Racing Barrett Brothers Auto O'Neill back machine. The College A coming up next. We got Seth Wilson, Tyler Swindle, Brandon Owens, Brandon Hogue, also Chase Fetro, Noah Mickelson, Chase Allison, Dylan Walraven, Corey Vanderleyer, Hunter Schreiber, Mikey Nichols, and Clipper Gooseman in 10 seconds. And they're off, by the way, a couple of moto stars in that one. Noah Mickelson is a part of that Phoenix Honda factory racing team. He's a point leader in this class. And also Brandon Hogue, who's a AMA Pro ATV rookie, got himself a podium last week at Unadilla. But it's the 400 machine of Noah Mickelson from Salisbury, North Carolina, taking the early lead on his Phoenix Racing Honda. Red Riders ruling here in this one in the early part. As we go to the Junior B 22-plus class, Josh Adams, Travis Mathias, Ryan Mazie, David Kite, Joseph Mercy, Neil Tolston, Carl Kelsey, Nick Dillick, also David Golling, George Corbin, Justin Eisen. 10 seconds. Dylan Holloway, Jonathan Kreinbull, and Travis McConaughey. And that might be McConaughey. Whatever the case, 3:37. Neil Tolson, I believe, grabbing the early lead out of Alliance, Ohio on a Kaiser Aluminum Wheels GBC Motorsports back ride. That B30-plus class, Nick Miller, Nathan Tickle, Aaron Hendershot, Tom Bundy, Chris Landefeld, Kenneth Rich, Corey Tribalcock, Cody Holcomb, also David Ashby, Wesley Smith, Cody Stewart, and John Higgins ready to roll in 10 seconds. They're off. Round the first turn now. Who's going to sort it out first? They're side by side coming in. Oh, and we got an advantage onto the 81, Nick Miller from Bristolville, Ohio, on a B&R Motorsports Triumph Yamaha Aborn GBC backed ride. We got the Senior B40-plus class. Peter Dandria coming up along with Greg Phillips, Dan Dakota, Jason Limley, Leon Barnovas, Charles Galack, and Nick Lambruno, Robert Stevens, and Jeff Harvey. Oh, Hardcore Harvey ready to roll in 10 seconds. Don't forget, Life Behind the Pros, Jeff Harvey's podcast. Be sure to check it out on Facebook and online. And let's see if we can check him out up front here today. Let's see who's got the early lead. 542. 582, Nick Lambruno from Morgantown, West Virginia, possibly Bluno Racing, Lone Star Racing, Outlaw Motorsports as we go to the College B class coming up next. Dalton Keys, Jonathan Steiner, Grayson Eller, Sam Zambati, Dylan Tarango, Braylon Secura, Cade Alexo, Cale Klein, Wesley Wirtz, Brandon Golden. 10 seconds. Kyle Emery, Levi Myers, Aaron Greenwell, Josh Turner, Tanner Green, Zach Wright, Hunter Godsey, Tyler Rumpke, Caden Ryan, and Keegan Walker. And it's the 171 of Grayson Eller on a Phoenix Racing Factory Honda. Another Red Rider getting out to the early lead in this one. That's your College B class off and rolling. And it looks like that's it for the starts as our sweep crew now beginning to make their way behind these ATV pilots here on lap number 1. That's going to wrap things up as far as the start is concerned. We're going to pick the action up out on the racetrack as far as RacerTV.com is concerned. And, of course, a lot of big things going on. Can Walker Fowler make the win? Will Joel Hedrick, who, believe it or not, might be a little bit shaking up Walker Fowler a little bit in the back of his mind. We talked to him about that. Well, we'll see whether or not he's able to do it on the racetrack. Stick around. GNCC Live continues right after this.
Consistent clutch fuel is vital to effective starts or to confidently maneuver around obstacles on the trail. AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil was subjected to an extreme simulated start test. After 32 simulated race starts, AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil continued to deliver consistent clutch feel, and the clutch plates remained clean with no visible wear. The competitor's oil, however, allowed discoloration and significant wear after just 16 starts. AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil. Give your bike the protection it needs.
What is your passion? Hitting the perfect line, finding the perfect trail, routing the perfect adventure, or just living and breathing the moto life? Do you feel pride for a job well done after tackling a late night in the shop? Do you enjoy time spent with friends and family in the great outdoors? Spanning over 3 decades, one name has taken the lead for supplying the best powersport parts, accessories, and apparel to fuel your passion. One name that knows it goes beyond getting you the best prices, quickest shipping, or largest selection. One name that builds and innovates for our industry. One name that teaches, helps, and supports our fellow riders, racers, and organizations. We are Rocky Mountain ATV MC. We have transformed a team of moto enthusiasts into a powerful teaching team to ensure that you make the best purchasing decision with your hard-earned cash. We build communities with fellow riders to provide you with all you need to make a good decision. See customer photos, reviews, Q&As, and more while you're on our easy-to-use website. Need help fast? Live chat with our specialists, email, or drop us a line. Visit us today and experience the best in OEM and aftermarket parts, accessories, apparel, and industry-leading information. We offer lightning quick shipping, free on orders over $75, a huge inventory, free apparel exchanges both ways, and customer service that leaves all others behind. Experience one name that leads all others. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
The all-new Yamaha Wolverine X2. With a compact chassis perfect for exploring tight technical terrain. An ultra-quiet and smooth 850 class twin-cylinder engine. And next-level versatility with a 600-pound dumping cargo bed. No other side-by-side delivers this level of proven off-road performance. The all-new Wolverine X2 from Yamaha.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Chematic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Chematic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Chematic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Chematic. Chematic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
After initially injuring it in March with a broken scapula, the week before Snowshoe I ended up re-injuring it, pulling something in my shoulder, so we ended up getting an MRI. Turns out it was a torn ligament, so it's just partially torn, no surgery required, just back to PT now. I'm going to take the summer off, not racing today, just came to hang out and represent, so my plan is to be back by the Black Sky GNCC at the end of summer break.
Yeah, I'm ready for the break. I'm getting to that point.
Put it up just a little bit more.
Like this.
Yeah, there you go.
Good? Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm ready for the break. You know, it's been a long season. Body's kind of getting a little tired. We've been running on high octane since January and getting everything lined up. Looking forward to kind of taking a couple weeks off, kicking back by the pool and grilling out and some big old Boston butt and some steaks and eating some big old potatoes and stuff I don't normally get to eat, and just enjoy a little bit of time. So looking forward to putting in some good hard laps today, good race, and have something to really be proud of to hold my head up high over the summer.
Just a little bit of a break. Go on vacation with the family. I have my first baby, Callie, and we get to go to the beach in 2 weeks, so kind of excited to go check that out and play on the beach with her. We haven't been there yet, and other than that, just get back to building bikes and getting back to the grind.
I would rather ride, as of this season, looking back, in the dust, because I swear every race we've had, it's been muddy, and it's been a real wet year, and I'm really looking to have a dry race today because we really haven't got a straight up one yet this whole year in GNCC, so I'm pulling for the dust. The weather radar kind of looks different, but hopefully, fingers crossed, the rain shies away and the storms go all around us and the surrounding ridges, and we get blessed.
Mud or dust? Honestly, I always kind of preferred mud, but the way this year's been going, I'm ready for some dust. Machine's just been getting tattered. It's been a struggle keeping it together. It's been an expensive year as far as maintaining things. The mud just tends to beat the bike up really bad, so I'm actually ready for some dust. I think today we're gonna, it looks like rain. We might have a little bit of both, but right now the track's looking pretty dang good, so if it rains, it'll help a little, I think, in the fields, but otherwise it'll be a near perfect track.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Hello. Check. All righty, welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin here, and of course we are at this brand new event, what I like to call Warren Lilly's Pad, which Warren Lilly is a old school GNCC racer, been around the GNCC racing nation for a long time, and of course BP Fuel is bringing you this as it is the makeup to the Big Buck GNCC, which was originally scheduled for our first round back in February, but here we are at this beautiful piece of property, what is to me a grassroots style racetrack of what GNCC racing came from, and as you can see, lots of good woods out there, lots of big rolling fields out there. We've got plenty of great things going on as far as the course is concerned, and talking with these riders out here today and listening to what they have to say, to them personally, a lot of guys really liking the terrain that we have to put forth. There's Lane Michael, who is one of our two-wheel motorcycle Husqvarna riders. He's trying to find himself a way around the racetrack, checking things out, as well as I'm sure going to be staying out of the way of these guys up front. And as we check in with the front crew, last I saw, it was Walker Fowler leading. Back in the third place position was top AMA Pro ATV racer Joel Hedrick. Now, one has to think, out here in these woods, he's maybe going to tap a tree. He's going to be feeling a little intimidated, may not going to be the threat. But Walker Fowler said in these open field sections, which there's a lot of them, Joel could be a major threat. So we'll see whether or not it is a warranted worry that Walker Fowler has in the back of his mind or not, as to whether or not Joel's going to be a threat, but also don't forget about the constant threats that he is dealing with. Cole Richardson, Bryson Neal, just to name a couple of those riders. Also the 521, Adam McGill, Jared McClure, who the Sneaky Snake seems to have been somewhat quiet this year, but something tells me something may be looming in big things for him here in the high voltage GNCC. Wants to leave this into the summer break with an explanation point. And he wants, well, just kind of secure himself as far as maybe not so much in the point standings, but in his mind standings heading into those final 4 rounds at the end of the season whenever we go into that final push toward the championship. As we take a look at the point standings right now, as you can see, Walker Fowler has got an astronomical lead over now the second place in points rider, Chris Borch, who is the all-time wins leader as far as 75 overall wins. Walker Fowler now with 51, and still a huge thorn in Walker Fowler's side. Bryson Neal, who's got himself a win so far here in 2019 in the third place position on board the number 4, only 3 points out of the second place position behind Chris Borch. So really it looks like the battle is going to be basically in the second place position. Who's going to wear the number 2 next year? It looks like Walker Fowler's pretty much got this one lock, stock, and barrel when you're looking at a 60-point lead and 5 rounds of racing left to go so far here. So 3-point deficit there between those top 2 riders, second and third place position. So that's going to be, I think, a place to watch as far as championship points are concerned in 2019. It's pretty much a sealed deal, maybe, for the championship. But that's, again, we still got 5 rounds of racing to go. So we take a look at the Yamaha Racing track map. We're looking at a 2 p.m., a 10.2-mile racetrack that we are looking into. And if you look, we see that there are some areas of this race course that dip into the actual West Virginia, across the West Virginia state line, and even into this Pennsylvania state, and more so tomorrow on the two-wheel side of things for those 1 p.m. and 10 a.m. bikes tomorrow. But nonetheless, actually literally crossing that Mason-Dixon line here at this high-voltage GNCC, and just a wonderful place to be as far as racing is concerned. In the heart of GNCC Racing Nation, this is where, I mean, we're within a stone's throw of High Point. We're within a stone's throw of Uniontown and Brownsville Lutheran Park and all those different places. And there's Walker Fowler, or there with Walker Fowler. There's Bryson Neal as we roll through the Monster Energy Mile now. And there's first and second. This is really starting to stretch out. That's Chris Borch here at the near the 8.5 mile marker, just to give you a heads up on where we're running right now. And it looks like maybe Adam McGill part of that top 5 as well as we roll through this one. And that red dot on the screen, can't quite figure out where that is coming from. It's kind of okay, and there it is. So more of these top riders. Is that Hetrick going through there quite possibly? I think we might have missed him, or that might have been him going through, dropping back a few positions on that Phoenix Racing Hondas. Things have really sorted out quite a bit here. There's a 201 of Cody Collier, who just really seeming to struggle to get things together the way that he would like to get them together. But that's another rider that I'm sure would like to see an explanation point as far as this 9th round and heading into the summer break of racing is concerned here in GNCC. Still out here at the Monster Mile, we'll be picking up on some of these top XC2 riders. Drew Landers got the whole shot, then got pitched off the machine. There's Johnny Gallagher checking in now. The bigger gap starting to open up. This is a checkpoint region also, so riders have got to go through this section. If they don't get scored through there, then we know they're missing and they've gotten off course someplace. So that's why the checkpoints are there, to keep up to date with the riders and keep them on course as well. So big gap, I believe. Should be starting to see those XC2 riders checking in. As we said, Landers had gotten the whole shot in that one, but who is this? Galata, I believe. And if that's the case, man, John Galata getting out front early on like this. It's the 712 machine. And with that, it's going to be a tough, long road to hoe for a lot of these riders
as this day wears on. And another road, a long road to hoe that might start to get for these riders is the fact that the rain is starting to fall again. We talked about these pop-up showers that kind of in and out around the area, some parts of the property getting them and some parts of the property not. But right now we've got ourselves a nice little storm cell. Well, not a storm cell, a rain cell. No lightning hasn't been involved in this. It's just been a nice summer shower. And honestly, with the conditions of the course, this is not a bad thing when you look at the big picture. Now, it's going to be a little sloppy. The guys' hands are going to get a little wet. Some of the riders choosing maybe to use those big mitts. Others maybe not. We just saw Drew Landers going by there in that XC2. So he's about mid-pack now up through the XC2 Pro-Am. And, wow, my tent just literally almost flew away right there. So the wind is starting to pick up. The pin's pulling out of the ground. Track crew, help. As we said, the rain is starting to fall. It's been dry and dusty so far as the race is concerned today. There's Walker Fowler out near the FMF Power Point as we are getting closer to the conclusion of lap number 1. Someone telling me these lap times, I think Walker was estimating these lap times somewhere in the neighborhood of about 20-minute laps, and I'm thinking, Walker, I think they may be a little bit longer than that, but I'm not going to argue with him. He seems to know maybe a little bit more about it than what I do, but he was expecting, I'd say, for things to be a little bit faster. Now with the rain starting to fall, things probably are likely going to slow down a little bit, at least for a little while. So right now we are already, I think, looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 23, 24 minutes since that green flag flew for those XC1 Pro Class riders from Walker Fowler grabbing that early lead out here just moments ago. But as you can see, the rain is falling, and it is coming down hard. So what would have not been much of an issue now maybe could start to become an issue. Track hard-packed, and the wetter it gets, the slicker it's obviously going to be getting, and this is going to open a window of opportunity for a whole host of different riders and things to happen throughout the course of this race. Listening over the right side of the broadcast tent, I can hear machines starting to work their way through this off-camber section, so I believe we're nearing the completion now of lap number 1 as Walker Fowler makes his way into the finish line chicanes in the Amsoil finish line itself as he slows down there. Lap number 1 in the history books. Walker Fowler putting that one. And you can still see a little bit of dust, so if it stopped raining right now, this would be a perfect addition to this race course today. There's Bryson Neal. Things starting to open up a little bit there. Fowler checking in with a 24-minute, 36-second first lap time as Bryson Neal checks in 13.3 seconds back with a 24:50 lap time. Here comes our third place right now as we get a chance to sort this one out particularly. This is going to be, and I think still is, the number 3 of Chris Borge out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania. 14 seconds back behind Bryson Neal, and these gaps may start to widen up now. There is the Cole train. Cole Richardson checking in out of Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, hometown boy, almost literally, as he lives in just an hour or so from where we are right now. And look at this nose-to-tail battle coming into the finish line. See how it all gets sorted out. Is Kid Dynamite, the ATV motocrosser, in this mix? There's Adam McGill in 5th aboard the 521. The rookie, Hunter Hart, in 6th. The sneaky snake, Jared McClure, in 7th. There's Wesley Wolf, the 741, in the 8th place position. As we look to 9th, there is the 88 of Joel Hetrick on the Phoenix Racing factory-backed Honda, only 9 seconds behind Wesley Wolf. Wesley Wolf also an AMA Pro ATV racer, so looks like Hetrick has elected to hook up with the 741 machine early in the race to see how things are going to go. 10th place right now to Cody Collier. Josh Merritt running in the number 11 spot as these riders check in. There's Marty Christopherson now checking in on the number 7. He would be 12th place position. 13th now, Greg Covert out of Ithaca, New York, one of our Niola riders, the number 14 machine. And still waiting. Probably Johnny Gallagher, I think, will check in next. And Gallagher in 14th place position. Now, this could be saving grace for Johnny with this weather conditions, and these old school-style tracks might play in his favor. We'll see as the race wears on, obviously, and this rain just continues to beat down what looked like just a quick pop-up shower moving through the area without any repercussions, I should say, is all of a sudden lending its hand to maybe a little bit of chaos and mayhem as it just continues to come down. It gets deeper. As it gets deeper, the water on the course gets deeper, the track gets slicker, and all of a sudden, what was a perfectly watered racetrack now turns into a little bit of a muddy racetrack. Who's checking in now? That is John Glotta, the 712, leader of the XC2 class. There's Little Ronnie Rush, the 714. Wyatt Wilkin also checking in the XC2 Pro-Am class. So Glotta, Rush, Wyatt Wilkin, 1, 2, and 3. Here comes your fourth place ride. That is Ben Kowalewski. He's the 219 from Great Bend, Pennsylvania. Another home state boy, if you will. VA is a big state, though, so covers a lot of acreage and a lot of territory. But that's your top 4 XC2 class. And, yeah, just as I was thinking, I think Great Bend is what, something like 5-6 hours from where we are right now. 6 hours away, my producer is telling me. Literally 6 hours. You just moved from there. So, wow. Matt Blankenship, last year's College A champion, checking in the number 5 spot aboard the 127 from Greenwood, Indiana. Tanner Walker, 92 Motorsports there in the number 6 spot out of Berlin, PA, home of those great tasting tater chips. Jordan Poplaski, the 82 out of Shamokin, PA, in 7th. 8th place position, last race winner, the 17 of Drew Lanners from Monterey, Tennessee. Wow, what a heartbreaker for him off that start. Got the whole shot and then pitched off the machine and has to work his way up from dead last. Drew had been so close so many times in taking the win. It seemed like we thought he had it in the bag on the last lap and then let it slip away. But not at Snowshoe. He was able to maintain that position and take that class win. We'll see how things work for him today as he is running less than a second behind Poplaski. Putting the things together. He's less than 40 seconds from John Glotta. So under these conditions, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not without reason to think that Drew Landers couldn't be a force to be reckoned with. Look at how quickly the water is accumulating. Literally, I mean, we've been watching these showers yesterday. They pop up. Will look like they were ready to just bear down on us and pound this facility, and then they would disappear. And we were kind of hoping that would be the case in what we would see here for today. There's the 21 machine, a big Papa P checking in with us now. That is, of course, your Vet A 30-plus class leader. Big Papa P leading the boys out there. Not checked in yet for that second lap complete. I believe Michael Lancaster was running back in the number 2 spot. Looks like that we've got some of these Vet A guys actually in the mix and thick of things with some of these XC2 Pro-Am riders now. By the way, XC2 Pro-Am top ride checking in. John Glotta is 14th place overall after this first lap of racing. He turned a 26-minute lap time, and I think a lot of that can be accredited to, things slowing down quite a bit with this water, these conditions. And this track is going to a whole new face. The roots are starting to be a little more exposed for these riders and so forth. So this could get quite interesting as the day continues. And, yeah, just like we said, the roots are starting to get exposed. We're just starting to see the small ones right now. But as you get down into those wood sections, as those become more exposed, they become slick with the wetness, obviously, and the mud. But just the tree sap and everything that comes off of the roots is going to create even more slickness. So this is only going to go from bad to worse, I'm afraid, as the day continues. And I don't mean worse in a bad way. I just mean challenging from a racer standpoint. And as a GNCC off-road racer, these are the types of things that you anticipate, the types of things that you expect as far as racing is concerned, especially in the summertime, especially in the springtime, especially in America. Wait 5 minutes, and the weather is going to change. I think I might have just heard some thunder out there, maybe a flash of lightning. I know the officials are going to keep an eye on that, and we'll know whether or not that was an official lightning strike or whether maybe it was just something that I saw as a camera flash or something off in the distance there. But nonetheless, the rain is coming down, and this race, the face of it has changed so much at this particular point, my friends, and there's not a whole lot that can be done. We're at the mercy of Mother Nature and what Mother Nature has to deal out for us. We thought we might be looking at possibly our second or third dry race for the weekend. Somebody said, how many we've had a rain there? I said, no. We've had a couple of races that have actually been nice. Florida was nice. I believe that it was nice in South Carolina. There was some rain leading into those events, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, those were some nice races. This was set and still a nice race, but we got a little bit of water. There's Walker Fowler out in one of these big field sections that could have maybe lent its hand to Joel Hetrick, but with the way the conditions are starting to deteriorate, I don't think that anybody's going to offer much of a challenge to anyone at this point. It's just a matter, I'm just going to say, a matter of survival. And I have to question how many riders came into this one ready for wet conditions. Maybe they might have prepared somewhat for some splashes of water here and there, but who was really expecting the skies to open up and for this torrential downpour to not only come but continue the way that it is? New second place ride as Chris Borch checks in on the number 2 spot. There's the number 4 now of Bryson Neal as he's dropped off the 3rd. So Borch is really taking advantage of the conditions right now and or capitalizing on mistakes by the youngster of Bryson Neal. That's the number 5. That's, again, Coltrane Cole Richardson making his way around. He and Jared McClure and Bryson Neal are getting ready to go to France later this summer at the end of the summer break, just leading into the last part of the season. They're going to go race the Pont de Vaux. That's all going to be taking place, I believe, in September, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, they're going to France, going to have a good time with that. We wish them well as teammates and wish them well here today, especially under these adverse conditions as the skies continue to throw down upon us. There is, I believe, Hunter Hart aboard the number 9. That's about our 6th place position checking in now. Should be seeing Jared McClure check in unless he got around Hunter Hart, and that was him a few moments ago. Let's see who this is. This is another one of those yellow machines. That's Wesley Wolf checking in on the 741. Missed that ride. I'm not sure. That might have been, I don't think that was McClure. And I didn't see Joel Hetrick going by, and that's one rider that's probably not at all ready for the inclement conditions. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat. But he may be, nope, there he is. There's the 88 of Kid Dynamite. Joel Hetrick still trudging along on the Phoenix Racing Honda, pulling those roll-offs as he makes his way by the camera shot there. There is the number 7 machine checking in with us now. That's Marty Christophers. Looks like Christopherson's gotten around Cody Collier now and Josh Merritt, the number 11. So Christopherson's on the move, working his way up through the pack. He's gained a couple positions there. There is the 14 now of Greg Covert checking in. And another Yamaha-mounted pilot. That's the number 12 of Johnny Gallagher now making his way through. I believe maybe he's gotten through. Some more thunder we're hearing there off in the distance. 201 machine checking in with us now. That is Cody Collier. He's lost a few positions. He drops from 10th place now. I'm going to put him back in that number 13 place position as things have gotten shuffled around since these riders went through the finish line and completion of lap number 1 just a few moments ago. Yes, sirree. Happy Independence Weekend, and welcome to summer. It's just like the spring has been, wet and rainy. But I'll tell you, as hot as it is today, I'll be honest, this rain is probably not looked upon as negatively as it has been because earlier this year it's all been cold, wet. Well, not it's all been wet, but it's all been cold rains in that early spring and late spring. But here in the summertime, these showers can be very welcome as riders are now starting to become kind of hard to distinguish. I believe we may have just seen Ronnie Rush, and I believe that we've seen also, let's see, John Glotta, Ronnie Rush, Wyatt Wilkin checking in. I believe that was those 3. So now we'll be looking for Ben Kowalewski and Matt Blankenship to check in, unless that might have been them. And I missed Ronnie and Wyatt coming through there just a few moments ago. But things are starting to stretch out quite a bit as far as all the riders on the racetrack is concerned. And wow, what a change in the weather from the extreme hot, muggy 88 degrees to, I don't know what the temperature has dropped to now, but it is so much more comfortable now. There is, looks like one of our XC2 riders that may have been, missed that number. I expect that we should be getting about, that should be about 6th place. That was probably Tanner Walker that we saw going through there, or Matt Blankenship in that 5th and 6th place positions. looking for Drew Landers. I'm trying to see whether or not the 17 machine is able to make up some lost ground that he lost after grabbing that hole shot. And there he is, Landers checking in. So that's at least 8th place position that we're looking at right there. Let's see if he had gotten around Poplatsky or not, whether we missed the 82 machine. We'll know next rider coming through should either be the 191 or the 82. We'll know right exactly where Drew Landers is likely sitting here in this XC2 Pro-Am class as our Yamaha mounted rider checking in there, showing us the peace sign. Of course, I believe that may have been Kenny Schick on that Yamaha. So that would be the 9th place position. So I believe that it is Poplatsky still in 7th place as they are following Tanner Walker and Matthew Blankenship. But Drew Landers still trying to make up for that lost ground, I believe. Oh, mercy. No rain gear for M. Raider Films. That's not a good thing for him today. It doesn't look like. Saw him carrying his camera out there. Highlights, videos of GNCCRacing.com, courtesy of Mason Raider there. We just saw him a few moments ago. Trying to get the shot, if you will. Was that the 11 there, Josh Merritt maybe checking in? I know Merritt looked like maybe he lost some time. That would be 11th place if that's the case for the XC1 Pro class checking there. But we'd already seen Johnny Gallagher going through, unless Gallagher gotten by a few people, and that's kind of a possibility. And here's our first problems. And there's the alternate line. It's going to be a big saving grace here on the FMF PowerPoint as one rider gets nearly to the top. And again, I'm going to tell you, these aren't big hills, but look at that water coming down through there. And as we said, those tree roots becoming more and more exposed are becoming quite a bit of an obstacle. So riders are going to have a little more trouble traversing this part of the trail as they get to the top of it and push so hard to try and make it. Look at that, headlights on and rolling strong as the rain just pounds down and rolls down this hill. The question being posed right now, would you enjoy racing a quad out in the rain like this? I'm going to tell you right now, the question that I have to say, the answer to that question is, heck yeah. I would enjoy racing my quad in any conditions. Would I enjoy it as much in their perfect conditions? No, I wouldn't enjoy it as much as in perfect conditions. But what you got to do in my mindset at this particular point is basically throw protocol out the window. Go have as much fun as you can and get around this course the best way that you possibly can and make as much out of the day that you can. Because chances are, as long as you're moving forward and pushing and trying to remain positive, somebody out there may find a negative Nancy bone, and if they do, then they're going to start falling back, and every little advancement you make forward is only going to be in your advantage. So I say, yeah, I would enjoy these days. It wouldn't be as much fun as perfect conditions, but anytime that you can get out on an ATV and go racing, that's a good day, no doubt. So basically setting the stage for this one, you know, in the last, when several of the races so far this season, if we come into these, man, finally making it up that FMF PowerPoint there. I'm going to try to get, I left my paperwork over at the starting line. But, this race course yesterday, when these riders walked this track, there was conditions nothing at all like this. We had no rain leading into it this week. All the rain basically in the last couple of weeks had ran off. Things were drying out and was becoming very nice, very solid, and very traversable as far as that. It actually started drying out a little bit and getting a little bit dusty. So rain showers were kind of welcomed in the big picture and grand scheme of things, especially that first little rain shower that came through and gave us a nice little rain right before the start. The rain shower that came through just for a few moments after the start or during the start. Well, this one that started up and has not relinquished much at all since it started. This is the one that we weren't looking for, the one that we were hoping would not happen, because this one was the one that was going to turn things a little on its ear as far as the racetrack. Now, we know as off-road racers, we're prepared for things like this. This is not the end of the world by no stretch of the imagination. What it is certainly a game changer in a lot of people's programs, especially when you look at the grand scheme of things. We're at round number 9. A lot of the amateur program and a lot of the amateur racers only count 9 races toward their championship. So now, you know, if they had a bad race and they have another bad race today, it's going to start playing some havoc with those points out there. whenever we head into those final 4 rounds of racing. So this is a pretty strategic point of the series championship for a lot of these guys as far as the points races are concerned in all of our amateur classes out there. And don't think that it isn't for the pro classes as well, but on the amateur side of things, this is a very important race, especially for a lot of riders that chose to race this race rather than not. They're hoping that they can capitalize on maybe somebody going on vacation on this rescheduled race in those amateur ranks. Will they? I don't know. I guess time will tell the answer to that question for sure. And one thing that we have on our mind, what's going to happen here? Will it continue to rain? Will it affect the race up front? And my goodness, is anybody going to catch Walker Fowler? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues right after this.
It's tough out here in the great outdoors. It's summertime, and things will get heated. Do you have what it takes to be part of the action? The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship will put you to the test, but reward you with the thrill of a lifetime. Join the fastest motocross racers in the world as they endure the elements and the toughest racetracks in America for national championship glory. Tickets for the Ironman National in Crawfordsville, Indiana on August 24th. Available at promotocross.com.
Your bearings shoulder the burden whenever you tow, haul, or stop the gas. AMSOIL delivers powerful protection for bearings and other critical components so you can drive with confidence. To demonstrate, an independent lab put AMSOIL synthetic motor oil head-to-head against a leading competitor in a 100,000-mile test. AMSOIL provided far superior wear protection and kept engine bearings looking like new. Get your truck the protection it deserves at amsoil.com/auto.
I'm a junior pro surfer from Maui, Hawaii. I actually tried to homeschool in 8th grade and just didn't meet my needs. I came to On Track in 9th grade, and from the beginning I really liked it.
The mission at On Track School is to make academic success completely possible for each and every student while they're out pursuing their personal goals.
Everything is just super easy with On Track. I get to take my computer on the road whenever I need to. It makes it very easy for me to get all my work done.
If you're looking for a program that provides flexibility and a program that you can take anywhere that fits your lifestyle, then On Track is for you. So come check us out at ontrackschool.com and go get it.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground up 2019 Yamaha YZ250F is available at LoJack Cycle Sales, alongside the all-new YZ65 and YZ85 and refined YZ450F. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride. We are American Motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
GNCC Live from the VP Fuels High Voltage GNCC. We're at Warren Lilly's pad, my friend, in Dunkard, Pennsylvania. You're watching the PM ATV Pro Race, XC1 Pro and XC2 Pro-Am, as well as A and B riders out on the racetrack right now. And, of course, rain showers starting out shortly after the green flag waving on this one and, turning this race course into a sloppy, muddy mess within minutes. And we do want to apologize to our viewers back home, obviously, with the hard rains coming down. We've found some obstacles once again as far as our broadcast is concerned, so we're working to rectify any lost footage, but we will be re-airing the entire broadcast of today's program later this evening, so you'll be able to check it out for yourself. But again, apologize for the inconvenience of the technical issues, but bear with us. Hopefully we will be live for the remainder of the show. Rain showers, heavy cloud, even some lightning off in the distance there, so we have a lot of elements to be working with, but we will have the full show available for you online coming up shortly. Now, speaking of shortly, we should be seeing our leaders check in shortly, and I'm not sure exactly in relation. I didn't quite scope it out on the Yamaha track map where the start was in accordance to where the actual finish line was and the start line, but regardless, we could be just a little bit longer. We're due in a couple minutes if we were going off the first lap times, less than 2 minutes for Walker Fowler to check in. I would have to think, though, that even if we came in on the exact same track, exact same length of track, it would have to be a little slower due to the fact that we've got, well, a lot sloppier conditions, and I believe that this race course has slowed down considerably, where riders are having trouble getting the traction in and out of the turns to make those those stop slides, and of course grab the traction to get the horsepower to the ground and make some speeds out there. So these faster speeds that we were anticipating out here at the high voltage GNCC not going to prevail here in this afternoon's ATV race. We'll have to wait and see what tomorrow's racing is going to be dealing with us, but I don't know. I just got a report that we may be seeing rain tonight. They're at the checkpoint. That's Bryson Neal checking in, I believe, on board the number 4 machine. I believe that was the number 5 of Cole Richardson right behind him, as he has closed up that gap now on the number 4 machine. So we're about ready to see Neal under even more pressure, and again, things tightening up for that second place position as these riders not only battle for that position on the racetrack, but even bragging rights in the championship points race for those riders in that number 2 position also. So a lot of weight bearing on the number 2 ride as we roll through this race today. Real quick, just to give you an idea how some of these classes are shaping up after that first lap of racing. As we had told you, in the XC2 class, it was John Glotta, Ronnie Rush, Wyatt Wilkin, Ben Kowalewski in 4th, Matthew Blankenship rounding out the top 5. 6th place, Tanner Walker. 7th was Jordan Poplatsky. Drew Landers in 8th. Kenny Schick was 9th. And Chris McAllen rounded out your top 10 there in the XC2 Pro-Am class. As we look to the College A class, we are seeing Chase Alice in the 470 out of McClellantown, Pennsylvania with, well, basically the shadow of Brandon Owens, the 246 out of Walker, West Virginia at the end of the first lap. 3 seconds behind those two was Dylan Walraven, the 622 from Dallas, Georgia. What a battle going on there. A little bit of a break to 4th place ride Seth Wilson out of Smithville, Pennsylvania, and 5th place ride the 400 of Noah Mickelson from Salisbury, North Carolina, who had gotten the whole shot in this one. Corey Vanderleiter in the 805 is running in 6th out of Mainsburg, PA. Waynesburg, PA is home for Hunter Schreiber, the 818 and 7th. Chase Fitro, the 305 out of Rachel, West Virginia in 8th. 9th place, the 998 of Clifford Gooseman out of Dilliner, Pennsylvania, which is kind of like right here. Dilliner, Dunkard, you name it. That's where we are in Pennsylvania pretty much. We don't know where we are. We don't know if we're in Pennsylvania. We don't know if we're in West Virginia. Now, we do know that, and we do know that we're just right there in that twilight zone, I think, of towns and places on the map. So Chase Fitro and Clifford Gooseman now rounding out the College A class. Quickly, Junior A, 22-plus class, Michael McAvoy out of Chester, West Virginia, the 531 leading Josh Haney out of Upper Black Eddy, Pennsylvania. Haney, I believe, got the early lead in this one on board the number 36 with the 44 of Luke Shepard out of Marion, Ohio, running in 3rd place, former ATV motocross racer himself, turned GNCCer. Bruce Weiland, the 203 from Ranshaw, Pennsylvania in 4th, the 540 Chandler Berner from Junior, West Virginia in 5th. Then it's Alex Elioff in the 6th place position. Justin Miller is 8th. Ben Danner is 7th, Justin Miller in 8th, Tyler Palmer in 9th, and Emily Wise, Miss Emily, the 38 machine, rounds out your top 10. Out here near the Monster Mile now, as we're watching for riders to check in, we'll try to note any riders that we recognize. It's going to be tougher to recognize now that all the riders are that wonderful shade of brown now. Bet A 30-plus class, Big Papa P with an 8-second lead now over the 821 of Brad Whitehead from Reading, Pennsylvania. Michael Lancaster dropping to the number 3 spot aboard the 807 from Morgantown, West Virginia. Fourth place, the 494 of Dirk DeCesar from Mineral Ridge, Ohio. In fifth is Todd Muscala out of Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Also another close by rider here, the number 60. Walker Fowler and Chris Borch. Oh, look at that. Fowler is maybe going to feel some pressure from Chris Borch as Chris Borch has closed that gap up. So that answers the question. Did Bryson Neal slow down and Chris Borch make the pass on him, or was Chris Borch being more aggressive? Chris Borch is now up to that number 2 spot and not far off the rear wheels of Walker Fowler. When last we saw, they could not see each other. Chris Borch was several seconds back and could not see Walker Fowler. Now he's catching glimpses of him. This is making it pretty interesting. There's number 2 of the Snake, Sneaky Snake. Jared McClure putting himself in a great position here as we head toward the halfway point of this race. And the latter half of this race, he might be able to put himself right there where he wants to strike. He said, hey, there are some tall grass sections around here, so maybe the Sneaky Snake is ready to start striking. Of course, Sneaky Snake's had some problems this year so far. In some cases, really only two races, but those 2 races have taken him so far back. It has really made it a little tough. There is the number 9 now, Hunter Hart checking in. Wow, so that's a big change there. That should put him in 4th place if I'm counting that back, right? If I didn't miss some more people going by there. And that means that Hunter Hart has made up some major ground out here at this FMF PowerPoint. We'll get an official count of that coming up here in just a few moments. Our leader should be due in any moment as we're hearing lots of action out there on that off-camber coming. And there it is, Walker Fowler, Chris Borch, 1.8 seconds separating the two. Get this, a 28:25 lap time by Walker Fowler. And, yep, 26 seconds is what separated those 2 riders at the end of lap number 1. We'll look at this right now. Chris Borch, 1.8 seconds back. He turned a 27:59 under the 28-minute mark. Cole Richardson checking in now, 16 seconds back in 3rd place position, along with Bryson Neal in 4th. So Bryson is basically trying to hold on to a podium spot and fight for that right now, as he seems to be struggling, maybe not prepared for the muddy conditions here today. Kind of surprising, though. I think that Neal, coming from southeastern Ohio, would be ready to rise to the occasion under any circumstance. The number 2 of Jared McClure now up to the number 5 spot as he's gotten around McGill, the 521, who's dropped to at least a 6th place position. But I think that might be Hunter Hart now into the 6th place spot if we were checking him back coming there just a few moments ago. May have missed Adam McGill, though. And nope, that's Hunter Hart coming in. So Hunter Hart has gotten around, it looks like, the 521, the McGill Mafia ride of Adam McGill. So Hunter Hart now up to a 6th place position officially. It says 39 seconds behind Jared McClure now in that position. So our front runner starting to spread out, but wow, things are really tightening up there. Walker Fowler may be getting the battle of a lifetime coming at him. He may have been talking about Joel Hetrick. I'm worrying about him, but remember Chris Borch said, I like these open field sections. I like these big power turns. And he and I think he and fellow Pennsylvania rider Joel Hetrick share that love of these big open fields out there. So, again, 6-time champ Chris Borch, he knows how to get it done in all conditions, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. Wesley Wolf checking in the number 7 spot. Now we're going to be watching for Hetrick. We're going to be watching for Cody Collier and Adam McGill checking in. Let's see, there's McGill in. That was McGill, just went through in the 8th place position now. And this is Marty Christofferson now up to 9th, so he's gotten around a few riders, including Joel Hetrick. Joel Hetrick checks in the number 10 spot, only 7 seconds behind Marty Christofferson. I'm going to say my hat's off to Joel for keeping it going out here. He's pretty much lost any hope of winning the ATV Motocross Championship, so he's just out to have fun for the rest of 2019. Look at this gap. It is basically non-existent as our riders make their way now through the Monster Mile. And this Monster Mile could turn out to be just exactly that on Walker Fowler if Chris Borch has anything to say about it now. As we see Cole Richardson there, not far out of the hunt for that 1st and 2nd place position. But look at him. Right behind him, the number 4 of Bryson Neal. So it's 2 by 2. Fowler and Borch, Richardson's and Neal now into that Monster Mile section. Here comes the 5th place ride, the number 2 of Jared McClure, all by himself, as we'll be waiting to see next. About 40 seconds back now will be Hunter Hart. I will say this also, Jared McClure has closed up that gap from 17.5 seconds now down to about an 8-second gap. So it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about half of where it was a few moments ago. So the Snake is, the Sneaky Snake is working his way up through the pack right now and is trying to put himself in podium position and ready to strike it. He's getting so much closer with each turn of the wheel, it looks like, as we roll through now lap number 3. 2 laps complete, and we are still under an hour into this race, 56 minutes and 47 seconds. There is Hunter Hart now. That is your 6th place position rider checking in at the Monster Mile. And that gap appears maybe to have opened up just a little bit more.
I feel like these people are very unorganized and don't know what they're doing.
57 minutes now into this race, approaching 1 hour and working on lap number 3. Will we get any more storms passing through the area? And if so, will they be much of an issue for these riders? Some lap traffic going through as we check in next with the 741 now of Wesley Wolf. Wesley Wolf by himself in the position, as a lot of riders appear to be at this particular point. There's the 521 now. He's got Wolf in his sights. That is Adam McGill now as he lays chase from back in that 8th place position. There's the number 7 of Marty Christofferson checking in here at the Monster Mile now. Next right through should be the 88 of Joel Hetrick, Kid Dynamite, but let's see if that's the case or not. I do not believe that is the case. No, it's not. It's the number 12 of Johnny Gallagher. So Johnny Gallagher has taken over the number 10 spot physically here on the race course, and I don't see the 88 of Joel Hetrick checking in just yet. We may have missed him coming through there, so don't hold me to that. That's the 14 of Greg Covert. And in reality, yeah, there he is. There is the Phoenix Racing Honda of Joel Hetrick making his way in now as he has dropped into the, I believe, 12th place position. So Gallagher up to 10th, Covert up to 11th. Joel Hetrick drops from 10th now to the number 12 spot. I would have to think that Joel Hetrick stopped for a pit stop, get some gloves, get some goggles, get some fresh gas, as he just really wants to finish this race, prove a lot of points to himself and a lot of fans out there that I'm sure are talking some smack on the internet. No, we wouldn't have any track smack talking going on now, would we? Yeah, I believe that we would, so we'll see whether this Red Rider is going to make waves here. So far for me, I'm pretty impressed by what he's been able to pull off. More so impressed with what's going on up front right now with this 2x2 battle. Walker Fowler and Chris Borge in the battle for first place, and Cole Richardson and Bryson Neal in a battle for that number 3 position. When we pick up that battle next time, I cannot wait. I have no idea what it's going to be looking like, but I can almost venture to say it's going to be a barn burner. Let's check in. Ronnie Rush has taken over the lead here after 2 laps of racing complete for those riders. Ben Kowalewski in the number 2 spot. John Glott has dropped to the number 3 spot. Jordan Poplansky in 4th. Wyatt Wilkin now dropping from 3rd to the 5th place position. Looks like Matt Blankenship in 6th, Tanner Walker in 7th, Drew Landers in 8th, 9th place Kenny Schick, and rounding out the top 10 is Chris McAnna-Allen, and that is your top 10. Now the top 5 had checked in with at least 2 laps of racing complete.
I don't like the texture.
And working on lap number 3, 2 laps in the history book, working on lap number 3 for our leaders out there. So the XC2 Pro-Am. And there's 1 hour. We've hit about the 1 hour mark as far as this race is concerned. Where is our top rider in the XC2 Pro-Am class right now? Ronnie Rush is currently 13th place overall on board the 714 machine. Now, as far as top amateurs are concerned, non-XC1 or non-XC2 riders, it is the Junior A class that is in command of top honors, according to what I'm reading right here, and it is Michael McAvoy, the 531, who has the lead in the Junior A 22 plus class. So Michael McAvoy, 24th overall. He had a 13-second lead over Josh Haney out of Upper Black Eddy, Pennsylvania. He was 25th overall. Luke Shepard, Junior A 22 plus class, was 26th overall. If you're wondering, Jeff Pickens, the 27 machine, your Ben A 30 plus class leader, is 27th overall after time adjustments. And on elapsed time right now, he would be looking at behind McAvoy. a 40-second difference. So, wow, McAvoy really on rails out there in the Junior A 22-plus class. There we're looking at some of our front runners going through now. Chris Borch was in the lead. I was just getting ready to say, was that Borch in the number 1 spot? The number 3 goes through. Walker Fowler now in the number 2 spot as Chris Borch has chased down and gotten around Walker Fowler, as now we see our 3rd place ride checking in there. Again, on board that machine, Cole Richards, the number 5, and there is the number 4, starting to see a little bit of space open up to Bryson Neal, your 4th place ride. We should be seeing about any time now Jared McClure. He was making a lot of gains out there, making up a lot of ground in that last wooded section, so very close to that front top 5, unless I missed Jared going by there, and he is a little further up in the mix of the battle. And that's quite possibly, he is the sneaky snake. Remember, he did earn those honors several years ago for circumstances just such as this. There was, I believe, that number 3 machine maybe going by and still leading in on the Suzuki. Chris Borch out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania. Look how thick that mud is starting to get out there also, but remarkably, and look at this, rider trying to get the mud off his gloves, stops, I should say, out there in one of those big field sections and starts rubbing his hands on that big round bale of hay just to get that mud off his hands and try to dry it out as much. And if you don't think it's slick right there, you see how slick it is on that kind of off-camber hairpin turn, which these riders have been getting a lot of drive and a lot of speed coming through there under different circumstances, well, drier circumstances, I should say. That's not so much the case here today, as things are, well, and they still might dry out. We might see more as the day progresses, but only time will tell the answer to that one. Folks, while we got just a couple of moments here, College B class riders opening up. Keegan Walker out of Berlin, PA, out front on the 920Y. Dalton Keys out of Holton, Indiana, was running 2nd. Grayson Eller, the 131, out of Salisbury, North Carolina, in 3rd. Aaron Greenwell of Reach Grove, Indiana, in 4th. Cale Klein, 345 from Camargo, Illinois, in 5th. And Tyler Rumke, the 780, in 6th. 7th. 832 of Camden Rhine. Can't see who that one went by was. Looked up just a hair late there, I believe. Number plates are certainly hard to read out there, but you can see off camera creating some havoc and issues for several riders. Just like that rider right there. College B into Junior B real quick. A quick scan. Travis Mathias, Justin Ison running 1 and 2, about a minute and 15 seconds separating the two. Jonathan Crime Bull only 3.5 seconds behind Ison at the end of that first lap. David Kite, the 321, in 4th. And Nick Dillick, rounding out the top 5 out of Vandergrift, PA. Dylan Holloway running 6th. Ryan Macy in 7th. George Corbin in 8th. Neil Tolston 9th. And David Gullion rounding out the top 10 of the Junior B class. Travis Mathias leading. Travis Mathias leading. I believe that might be. It was Junior B, so Vet B now. Aaron Hendershot, the 120. Corey Travelcock in 2nd place, running about 27 seconds off pace. Chris Landefeld in 3rd place aboard the 403. 813, Cody Stewart in 4th. In 5th place, the 81 and Nick Miller. 6th place, John Higgins. 7th is Wesley Miller. David Ashby is 8th. Nate Tickle is 9th, and Cody Holcomb rounds out your top 10. All right, back out here at the Monster Miles, we continue to wait and watch, and riders checking in there. Oh, we still have Senior B to look at real quick. Daniel Dakota, former ATV motocross racer, now GNCC racer, out front in this one. Jason Limley 2nd, Nick Lambruno in 3rd. Jeff Harvey, old Hardcore Harvey, in 4th place. Be sure and check his podcast, Behind the Pros. Peter Dandria, the 58 machine, in 5th. And Charles Glacken in 6th. Robert Stevens in 7th. And Leon's Baranovis is in that number 8 spot of the Senior B class. And that's a quick scan of all the class riders in top 10s in their classes after at least one lap of racing complete right now. Working on lap number 3 for our XC1 Pro class riders as we're watching here at the hour and 5 or 6 minute mark into this race. Riders trying to traverse these trails as they are becoming, well, I'm going to tell you, sloppier and sloppier as the moisture has gotten turned in and churned in. But I will say this, the rain has slacked off and slowed down and basically stopped at this point. And that's good news for everyone all the way around. So now that dirt could actually be turned around and churned around and start to tack up and create some really amazing race surfaces for this final hour, which would be a great story to be told on the podium when these riders make their way up. The big question right now is, will Walker get win number 52? Will Chris Borch get win number 76? We're looking at a possibility of a record-breaking day here today as far as wins are concerned, especially if Chris Borch gets win number 60. That is a win 76. Win 76. That is a monumental day and feat for him and for any racer in the GNCC Racing Nation. If you're a fan, you got to be stoked about that. Well, folks, I tell you, rain stopped. We're getting things sorted out. We're going to find out just exactly where these leaders are. We'll know who they are coming up here shortly, when they're going to be in, and we're going to sort them out and find out what just exactly is going to happen here at this high voltage GNCC. It could be a shocking day, my friends. Stick around. We continue after this.
It's tough out here in the great outdoors. It's summertime, and things will get heated. Do you have what it takes to be part of the action? The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship will put you to the test, but reward you with the thrill of a lifetime. Join the fastest motocross racers in the world as they endure the elements and the toughest racetracks in America for national championship glory. Tickets for the Ironman National in Crawfordsville, Indiana on August 24th. Available at promotocross.com.
Your bearings shoulder the burden whenever you tow, haul, or stomp the gas. AMSOIL delivers powerful protection for bearings and other critical components so you can drive with confidence. To demonstrate, an independent lab put AMSOIL synthetic motor oil head-to-head against a leading competitor in a 100,000-mile test. AMSOIL provided far superior wear protection and kept engine bearings looking like new. Get your truck the protection it deserves at amsoil.com/auto.
I'm a junior pro surfer from Maui, Hawaii. I actually tried to homeschool in 8th grade and just didn't meet my needs. I came to On Track in 9th grade, and from the beginning I really liked it.
The mission at On Track School is to make academic success completely possible for each and every student while they're out pursuing their personal goals.
Everything is just super easy with On Track. I get to take my computer on the road whenever I need to. It makes it very easy for me to get all my work done.
If you're looking for a program that provides flexibility and a program that you can take anywhere that fits your lifestyle, then On Track is for you. So come check us out at ontrackschool.com and go get it.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground up 2019 Yamaha YZ250F is available at LoJack Cycle Sales, alongside the all-new YZ65 and YZ85, and refined YZ450F. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride. We are American motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young, and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends, we become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin here with you as we come to you from Dunkard, Pennsylvania at Warren Lilly's pad, as I like to call it. Former racer, GNCC racer Warren Lilly's stomping grounds, of course, and the high voltage GNCC being presented to you this weekend by our good friends at VP Race and Fuel, who's making power. Literally, we got power being made right here on the mountaintops as we roll through this second hour now. First hour is has been stricken with rain, which has pretty much left us with this right here, a very soggy race course with some rocks now starting to be exposed, some roots starting to be exposed, and the track really starting to dig in and starting to roughen up. That was one thing that was questioned, I think, earlier this morning as to whether or not this track was going to be much of, whether it was going to roughen up and really start to separate guys out there or not, whether it was going to be a smooth freeway for great high-speed racing. Well, we see the answer to that question is, looks like we're going to have probably a little mix of both, especially if things start to dry out in these open field sections and continue to, I wouldn't say deteriorate, but become more challenging, I think, through places like this on the Monster Mile and the rest of this race course here at the high voltage. Wow, interesting. An hour and now nearly 12 minutes into this race. Our leaders are due in about 10 minutes. Walker Fowler starting out with the early lead in this one, and believe it or not, it was Kid Dynamite, Joel Hetrick, who nearly got a whole shot too right there. He was right there with Walker Fowler, but came up just a little bit short. Went into the woods third, if I'm not mistaken. Currently running back in about 11th, 12th place position as he's finding some struggles out here in the rain, but nonetheless good to have ATV Moto Star and former champ Joel Hetrick visiting here in the GNCC Racing World on that Phoenix Racing Honda. But in the meantime, as things were starting to get sorted out, looked like Bryson Neal was going to be the thorn in the side along with Cole Richardson for Walker Fowler, but somehow or another Chris Borch found his stride out there and was able to capture, that second place position away from Bryson Neal. And not only the second place position, track down Walker Fowler and take away the #1 position. In the last few shots we've seen him out on the racetrack, it has been Chris Borch out front in the lead. The rain had subsided, but as you're starting to see, it's starting to pick up once again, and we're going to see some more of that rain coming through the area, which could once again for this second hour really make things even more challenging than what they already are. Our running order: Chris Borch, Walker Fowler, Cole Richardson, Bryson Neal, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Jared McClure, the sneaky snake, closing in from back there in the #5 position. Hunter Hart was 6th, Wesley Wolf in 7th, Adam McGill was 8th, Marty Christopherson 9th, and Johnny Gallagher had moved up into the 10th place position at last check, dropping Joel Hetrick off to 12th place behind Greg Covert, who was now running in the 11th place position at last check. Physically on the racetrack. That was out about midway through the lap. We'll see where things start to stand here with about 8 minutes remaining before we'll be finding our way down here to the finish line region for lap number 3 complete. We can see over in the pro pits right now as we are taking a look at things. The Walker Fowler pits, WFR pits, the Yamaha pits are ready and waiting for a gas fill, I'm sure. Also some goggles to try to freshen things up. Same thing going on over there in the Chris Borch pits. These guys looking pretty serious about making things happen out here today as everyone waits right now with bated breath to see these two riders making their way into the view. And will Chris Borch still be out front? Will Walker Fowler be in that #1 spot or the #2 spot? Time will tell, of course. And speaking of time it takes sometimes for riders to heal up, and this rider right here is taking his time to do just that. And we welcome Devin Feehan now here to the program, who under normal circumstances would be out here racing with these guys. Devin, welcome to Racer TV and GNCC Live. Too bad you're not out there playing with those guys, huh?
Yeah, thanks, Rodney. It's definitely weird sitting here watching, but the least I could do is be here. Maybe take a little notes while I'm here and just see what's going on with these guys, see what they're doing. Obviously, they got some pretty crazy conditions right now. It started off, everything was looking great for the 11 a.m. race and everything. So it's definitely interesting to see that rain blow in. I think we've all been expecting it all week, and looked like it was going to miss us multiple times, but here it is. So.
Here it is, and it makes it a lot easier not to be out there on the racetrack, I'm sure, watching in conditions like this right now, huh?
Yeah, it's not too bad. We gotta race no matter what. So I don't want to have that attitude of I don't want to race in the mud. So I want to be the guy that likes to show up and race no matter what.
Well, Devin, if they didn't catch the front of the show, they may not know why you're not out there on the racetrack. Let's talk a little bit about that. Why aren't you racing today?
Yeah, so in March I had an injury in practice and ended up breaking my scapula. So later on took 6 weeks of recovery, and Ended up getting that healed up all good, I thought anyway, and then once I got back racing again at a local race, I ended up re-injuring it. So now I'm just at the tail end of that, going to take the summer break to fully heal and come back swinging.
Wow, what a heartbreaker it has been for you. I know, especially after coming off of a pretty stellar year, your rookie season and everything. As a sophomore, I know you're really hoping to stretch those legs, and I kind of think we saw that at the beginning of the season, honestly.
Yeah, you know, this year's been all about making those strides forward. You know, I mean, these guys I'm racing with now, they just have so much experience and so much knowledge, and I'm just soaking it all in, everything I can. Just making those strides forward, and you know, I got the starts figured out, I feel, and there's just I'm loving the process of learning this. It's been great.
That's great. And speaking of soaking it in, boy, this track is soaking it in right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what have you seen so far before the rain and since the rain started falling?
Yeah, you know, before the rain started, it looked like Walker, he was about a minute and, I think it was a minute and 5 seconds ahead. Or no, maybe not. Maybe it was 30 seconds ahead. Maybe I'm thinking of the earlier race. But, yeah, you know, it seemed like once the rain started to hit, that's when Chris started to reel Walker back in. And I noticed the pack, I think it was maybe 5, 6, or 7 guys behind in the 4th through maybe 9th place were all pretty tight. So I know those guys are all going to be battling for each other. I noticed another thing, too, a lot of these racers are stopping every lap for goggles. That's going to be a really key thing in today's race.
Yeah, there you go. And are we seeing gas stops along with that as well, or just goggle stops? They're just in and out as quick as they can go.
Yeah, mostly goggles, grips, water in the eyes. I'm even seeing guys saying, you know, tilt your head back and we're going to splash this in your eyes and wash them out. You know, that's what it's all about today.
Wow, what a tough one for sure. As we are now out at the FMF PowerPoint watching some of these riders check in. We're talking with Devin Feehan, XC1 Pro Class racer, who's on the injured list here this weekend. Now, Devin, how long are you out for, and what's the prognosis for healing? Are you gonna be strong whenever we roll back for round number 10 in the fall?
Yeah, I'm back to PT now, and just going to take the summer break off, get back to riding in August, and we'll come back swinging.
Theoretically speaking, I mean, you probably could have ridden today, but to do it at risk of re-injuring yourself, right?
Absolutely. I could throw my leg over if I wanted to, but I don't think it's worth risking an entire season or a career for it.
There you go. You're looking at the big picture, aren't you?
There you
go. So on the home front, how's things going for you out there?
Everything's been good. Just been focused on training and getting back healed up and get back to racing as quick as I can.
All right, that looked like a red number plate
yep,
right
that
there.
Was Bryson Neal coming through.
Bryson Neal coming through. That would be our 4th place position rider, so that means that Richardson, we saw Chris Borich, Walker Fowler, Cole Richardson, and Bryson Neal, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There is your 5th place ride. That is Jared McClure, who appears to be riding quite aggressively right now and closing up the gap now on the number 4 machine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy to see the position swapping going on from lap 1 when we had good conditions. You know, it just shows you what this rain can do to a race.
Now, you've seen these types of racetracks before. What's your take on things today?
By looking at this, it really reminds me of John Penton, where you know, if it rains, it turns real slick, and you really just got to find the traction and go on the outside edges of the track and really just focus on keeping the momentum rolling and pointing that thing forward and not losing traction on that slick spot.
And there seems to be a little more topsoil to the dirt too also. Maybe not as much clay in it, maybe a little more sand and stuff like that. But I know what you're talking about as far as the slickness. That's one thing that a lot of people have talked about, slick, slick, slick.
Yep.
And then you take into account the rocks and the tree roots and things like that. Then add this water on it. It's super slick right now.
Yeah, it's not like that clay where it just goes down into a concrete pad and, you know, there's definitely that slop on top you're talking about.
So right now, riders getting themselves prepared for coming up the Monster Mile. We are getting ourselves prepared for leaders to check in at about a minute and a half at the finish line. So we'll be turning our attention over to that neck of the woods here in a few moments. But and I got a question. I got to wonder: is Chris Borich on the laying down the pipe in the lead right now, trying to stretch things out over Walker Fowler? And is Walker Fowler in a position where he wants to try to keep up with Chris Borich in these conditions right now?
Yeah, absolutely. That it definitely seems like a heated battle. Just before I walked over here, I saw Chris come through the lead in the pits, and he had his head down, no goggles. I think he stopped and got some, but he looked like he was a man on a mission. But you know, Walker, he's definitely a fierce competitor, and he's gonna do everything he can to get out front.
Any surprises in what you're seeing today?
Not too many huge surprises. I did notice Wesley was running. He was a little bit farther back in the beginning. It looks like he's climbed his way up to Last I saw, he was in 5th or 6th, but you know, it's
I think he moved up to that sixth place position.
Yeah,
but,
5th or
well,
6th.
what I saw, I know Hunter Hart's. He and Hunter Hart. Sometimes I confuse those two. So Hunter may be up to about a 5th place position. Maybe only 6th place at this particular point. So we'll know officially more coming through. I mean, last time I saw him physically, it was Hunter still in 6th. Wesley was in 7th. Adam McGill, kind of a surprise here for the 521. I don't know that he was necessarily anticipating, expecting these rain showers to quite fall the way that they were. I don't think many people were, to be honest with you.
That's what I was thinking too. It's funny to see the conditions change that quickly.
Well, I mean, there's Walker Fowler. Did we miss Chris Borch going through? There's Chris Borch. So Fowler's back out front. Borch back in the number 2 spot as we roll towards the finish line there. Is that 3rd place? Cole Richardson right there in the shadows of 1st and 2nd place positions. I'm going to tell you right now, folks, we got a 3-way shootout. Now, I'm not going to say you can lay a blanket over them right now, but it's not far from those guys getting ready to be tucked in. That's for sure, because this battle is starting to heat up. Looks like Walker may have capitalized on a mistake possibly of Chris Borch, and maybe he's starting to feel it, and he's starting to think, okay, this is it. An hour and 20 minutes into this race, it's time to lay down the law out here and try to take a win and steal this win back away. There goes Bryson Neal. Yeah. So that gap is starting to open up between 3rd and 4th place positions, it looks like.
Absolutely, and there's no telling that Bryson Neal can't catch those guys.
And what is it about Bryson? Normally, under normal circumstances, Bryson's a pretty decent mud rider. He chained all winter long in the mud there in southeastern Ohio, and he's ridden. There's McClure now closing up that gap for 5th place on Bryson Neal. But I wonder what the struggle is for Bryson, because this is not a normal type race day for him, even though it is rainy. I mean, we expect, I do anyway, better performance out of him on a day like today.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to say when you have that top 5 group that is so competitive, and, you know, anyone can really win on any given day. So, you know, the conditions are throwing some things off, but, you know, everybody's got to deal with the same.
Walker Fowler coming through the chicanes hot on his rear number grab bar there. That is the number 3 machine of Chris Borch as they check in. White flag is out, 1 lap to go. I was wondering where we were going to be on this one, as lap times have dropped from 24 minutes to over 30 minutes, it looks like, as far as things are concerned here in this battle for the XC1 class. Sounds like we got a microphone battery dying there someplace, Adam. You might want to kill that one. But nonetheless, are you any surprised at what we're looking at right now, Devin Feeham?
You know, this seems like just another GNCC race, you know.
Honestly, it doesn't seem like too much out of the ordinary. I mean, it was pretty exciting there as things were really starting to slop up, and Chris Borch tracked him down and made that pass. But now it's getting into as things, well, it seemed like they were going to dry up. Then it started raining again. But we're right there in that battle that we're always looking at, that barn burner situation heading down to the checker flag right now. Except Chris Borch is in that position to make the Borch. Can he Borch the champ, though? That's going to be a big question.
Absolutely. You know, it's cool to see him all that close right to the finish, and it just makes it exciting to race right to the end.
Well, according to timing and scoring, we should be seeing our leaders in about 29 minutes. That last lap time was 30 minutes, 7 seconds for Walker Fowler. Chris Borch was 30 minutes and 7 seconds. Both riders actually 0.2. The gap was 1.7 between the two. Cole Richardson another 6 seconds back in 3rd. I think he was closer there at 1 point, so little gap starting up. 42 seconds, though, back to the number 4 spot of Bryson Neal. So basically, these guys up front have just got to do damage control, race control, and hold on to a position, and they'll have a podium today, it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. That front pack is definitely on a mission, and it's going to be exciting to see what transpires.
Well, Jared McClure checking in at that number 5 spot. We'll be seeing here in the next minute or so Hunter Hart or Wesley Wolf checking in, or maybe Adam McGill, as the 521 been able to capitalize on mistakes there, possibly by the youngster of Hunter Hart and Wesley Wolf. I can tell you this much. Adam McGill loves Hunter Hart, but he hates being beaten by Hunter Hart. and rightfully so. He's a veteran, man. McGill is a veteran. Why would you want to be beaten by a rookie, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were just talking to him.
There's Walker and Chris out here. I believe this, again, we're at the 1.5 mile marker, so we're early in this race. Monster Mile beginning at least one section. So there they go, 1 and 2 going through. There is the third place ride, the number 5 again of Cole Richardson, still well within striking distance, got himself in great position to take the win here today. Some lap traffic coming through. You know, not too bad. These guys seem to be traversing the trails okay. I mean, it doesn't, I mean, even though things are slick and getting mushy on top, and guys are spinning out here and there, it's hard packed enough, and there's enough rock that we're not seeing any real deep ruts develop. We're not seeing that train track effect that you see oftentimes with soft conditions in ATVs. So that's one good point to ponder on, I guess, here in this final lap, which actually kind of opens the track up a little more, and makes it a lot more raceable, I think.
Yeah, it seems that the main race line is definitely holding its composure and able to stay raceable for these guys. Looks like we have Jared coming through. I saw Bryce and Neil, so that's about the same gap we saw earlier as well.
Continuing to wait and watch and find out what's taking place here in this overall. Speaking of overall, and well, we were watching the XC1 class, but I want to check in with that overall again real quick and see where our top amateur happens to be. Where they were at last check anyway. Well, Luke Shepard, wow, look at that. Luke Shepard leading now the junior A22 plus class. He was third place and several seconds down at the end of that first lap. He's now up to first place in the class, 21st place overall. Jeff Pickens is 22nd overall from the vet A30 plus class. As far as time adjustments go, there are 30 seconds that separate those two. So Luke Shepard's got a 30-second advantage right now, heading into lap, when they headed into lap number 3. Lap times, not much difference, 31:19 for Luke Shepard, 31:25 for Pickens. So if Pickens can pick things up, Shepard has some problems, we may see a new top amateur. Vice versa, Luke might be able to stretch that out and really solidify the top amateur honors today. That's the non-XC1 or non-XC2 riders. There's some of that water going in those eyes that we were talking about. I didn't know if he was going to take a drink of that or have him squirted in his eyes there for a few seconds, but yeah, got to get that vision clear, and this is going to be an opportunity for riders, whether they want to or not. It's often a good time to take the extra time to make sure that you've got that dirt out of your eyes, because dirt down in your eyes a little around the corner can cause you a lot of problems on down the road. So get those eyes cleared while you can, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that's it's worth taking the extra few seconds to make the rest of the 30-minute lap count.
Now, have you developed anything that as far as the racing? I believe we've seen Josh Merritt earlier this year change helmets at John Penton and things like that. Have you come across any great ideas to help speed up processes like this? Maybe not getting that mud in that eye and keeping things fresh and clean for yourself?
Yeah, I was definitely surprised by the helmet change, but you know, I think the most important thing in these mud races, at least for me, is getting the mud off the top. You know, when it weighs down, it can disrupt your vision a little bit, and it can be annoying. So it's definitely good to stay as light as you can and just get that mud away from your helmet, and that way you can get your goggles on and have clean vision all day.
All right, checking in now with the XC2 Pro-Am class. Looks like our top runners are just outside the top 10 on overall adjustments, but John Glotta is back out front as he's gotten around Ronnie Rush once again. Now, Glotta was leading, and he dropped back to third. Ronnie Rush was running second. He moved up to the number 1 spot. He's dropped at least to the second place position so far. A 31:26 lap time. Let me compare that lap time to Walker Fowler and Chris Borich. They turned a 30-minute and 7-second lap time. Okay, so it's a minute or so longer, but still what a great lap time there for John Glotta as he wrapped up lap number 3 in that number 1 spot, and nowhere in sight so far has been Ronnie Rush. We've been talking about this for 30 seconds or longer, and the 7:14 still has not checked in.
Yeah, you know, like I said before I came over here, the top 3 in the XC2 class were fairly close. I noticed Ronnie Rush was running up front all day. You know, John Glotta has so far this season proven that he's he seems to be the guy to beat. You have Drew Landers in there too. I saw off the start he had a bit of a spill there, but it looked like he picked himself back up and was able to keep going. So it looks like Ben Kowaleski running second now. So Ronnie dropped back a little bit there, but
Yeah,
definitely a heated battle for the second row there.
There's Walker Fowler and Chris Borch as they exit the pro pit area now and head off into the wild, wonderful West Virginia / Pennsylvania sides, mountain sides. And of course, as we were looking at those XC2 riders, John Glotta is your leader. Ben Kowalewski did check in the number 2 spot, but look at that, 1 minute and 39 seconds. So John Glotta went from a wheel-to-wheel battle, battling from 3rd place, now 1.5 minute lead at the end of lap number 3. Pretty impressive. Wyatt Wilkin now back up into a top 3 position. He's 36 seconds back in the 3rd place position. And no sign of Ronnie Rush, the 714, or Jordan Poplaski, the 82 machine from that XC2 Pro-Am class. An hour and 31 minutes now into this race as we are in the final lap of racing. Our leaders due in about 22 minutes, which should put us in the neighborhood of a hour and 52-minute race. So that's about what I was anticipating and expecting. Had we gone another lap, that would have put us at like 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 25 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood. And depending on if it slowed down or speeds up, and we're seeing it looks like it's slowing down out there as the riders become more and more one shade of brown all the way around this race course. It's kind of difficult to start telling these riders apart. And again, folks, don't forget we will be restreaming the action from today's racing for you to check the live recorded live version, I guess you can see, uninterrupted GNCC from here at the High Voltage, coming up on, I believe, Facebook and different things like that this evening. So you can watch out for things like that from Grand National Cross Country and Racer TV, of course. We're joined in the booth right now again by Devin Feehan. He is one of the XC1 Pro riders out due to injury. And Devin, as we roll through this one, at this point, I guess, you know, from a racer standpoint, what are you thinking? I mean, you got the white flag flying. Conditions, I don't want to say are deplorable, but they're certainly as much fun as they may have been to ride in the early part of this rain shower. They are starting to become probably a little more of a nuisance, no matter how much you like to be wet, no matter how much you like to be muddy.
Yeah, from a racer standpoint, I mean, when you're this far into the race, you know, you pretty much dealt with all the crap, and you know, if you're running up front in that position of those guys, it's all about just hanging it out there and running with what you got to the finish.
Now, at this point, are we tapped out physically? Does this rain, does it coming into this one, maybe not necessarily expecting it, does it throw our game off enough where it starts to fatigue us both physically and mentally at this point?
In a race, you're saying? You know, honestly, I think the mud races are a little less intense physically. I think it slows the race down just a little bit, and your heart rate doesn't get as high, and you may have to muscle it around a little bit more, but it seems you get a little bit of a break. You know, you can see in those fields riders fighting for traction going pretty decently slow, a lot slower than normal, and so, you know, that's also another thing that'll help you know, keep the racing interesting and close.
Well, as we said leading into this race, we weren't necessarily expecting this, but we knew that the possibility loomed. You spent some time up there on Pro Pit Row. Were they preparing themselves for circumstances like this just in case, or were most of them not looking forward to something like this?
It didn't seem like anyone was you know, it didn't seem like the mud prep was like the main priority for the riders. You know, you didn't see any big tires coming out today, but you know, I think it's just one of those things where, you know, we've been expecting rain all week, so it's hard to say whether it is or isn't going to come down.
Yeah, and this is a good question right here. With these types of soils, this hard bottom and so forth, are the taller tires as critical? Would they be a benefit on a day like today to have the bigger tires?
You know, looking at the track, I honestly don't think so today. I know I'm not seeing those big boulders like we see at Snowshoe, or even those really, really deep train track ruts, you know, that would get the swing arm high centered or anything. So I think it has a good enough bottom to where the racetrack can hold its own.
Alrighty, 18 minutes or so before we'll be seeing our leaders check in. Working on an hour and 36 minutes into this one. And real quick, as we roll into this final lap, I want to give a quick top 5 rundown. You're welcome to stick around, and we'll take this race to the checkers if you don't mind. Devin, I'm going to take just a moment to run this down. If you see something, feel free to pop right in, all right? You watch the monitor, and I'll catch up with the riders. All right, so here we go in that XC2 class. As we told you, John Glada is out front. Big Kowalewski in second. Third place after 3 is Wyatt Wilkin. Jordan Poplatsky checks in at the number 4 spot. It's the 191 of Kenny Schick out of Newcastle, PA, now up to the number 5 position. We see that Ronnie Rush has dropped off to at least 7th place, has still not completed lap number 3. He was your leader heading into that 3rd lap. College A 16 to 21 class. Seth Wilson out of Smithfield, kind of a hometown boy right here as well. The 26 machine out front, 1 minute and 31 seconds over Walker, West Virginia's Brandon Owens, the 2:46. In 3rd place, the 470 of Chase Allison. He's out of McClellantown, Pennsylvania. 4th place, the 400 of Noah Mickelson from Salisbury, North Carolina. And rounding out the top 5, the 805 of Corey Vanderliner from Mainsburg, Pennsylvania. Looking at the Junior A 22+ class, Luke Shepard out front of that one. He checked in with 3 laps complete. He had a 1 minute and 1 second lead over the 2nd place. Well, actually, the 2nd place ride last time around. That would have been Josh Haney, the 36. In 3rd place, then Michael McAvoy, the 531. 4th place, the 540 of Chandler Berner. Caleb Edwards, the 628, rounds out your top 5. He's out of Cuba, New York. Was just through there last week, actually, believe it or not. You probably were too on your way over, weren't you? But as we look at the Vet 830+ class, Big Papa P has 3 laps in. We're going to check and see where he stands in the overall here in a moment against Luke Shepard. But Brad Whitehead, the 821 out of Reading, Pennsylvania, in 2nd. Michael Lancaster is 3rd in the Vet A class. Dirk DeCesar from Mineral Ridge, Ohio, 494 in 4th. Chris Conklin, the 48 out of Sisterville, West Virginia, rounds out your top 5. Senior 840+ class, Tom Barrett out of Morrisville, New York. 4 minute and 40-second lead over the 828 of Brian Shaw, in 2nd out of Harrisville, PA. LaSalle, Michigan, home to Mark Batson, that Media All-Stars rider. On the 636, had a chance to catch up with him prior to the race today. Came over and talked, said, we had a chance to talk much. I said, nope, we've all been dealing with rain and mud all season long. And here we go again, getting to deal with it once more. Mark's out there, former ATV Moto star himself. 42, Michael Hayes from Rocky Face, Georgia, and Fort John South of the 410 from Warwick, Rhode Island, rounding out your top 5. And it's College B, 16 to 21-year-old class. Keegan Walker leading there out of Berlin, PA. Tyler Rumpke, the 780 out of Hillsboro, Ohio, in 2nd. Dalton Keys out of Holton, Indiana, is 3rd aboard the 123. Aaron Greenwell of Beech Grove, Indiana, the 527 is 4th. And Braylon Secura from Clearfield, Kentucky, number 326, rounds out the top 5. Junior B25 2+, Justin Eisen out of Metamora, Indiana, over Travis Mathias. Mathias dropping to 19.5 seconds now, back into 2nd aboard the 313 is the 613 of Dylan Holloway out of Cleveland, Georgia, is 3rd. 4th place, the 395 of George Corbin from Fairmont, West Virginia. Rounding out the top 5 is the 359 of Vandergrift, Pennsylvania's Nick Dillick. And that's your Junior B22+ class. Vet B30+ class. Corey Tribalcock out of Niles, Ohio, a 3.8-second lead after 2 over the 120 of Aaron Hendershot from Mansfield, Ohio. Bristolville, Ohio's home to Nick Miller, the 81 in 3rd. Chris Landefeld, the 403 from Woodsfield, Ohio, is 4th place. Cody Stewart from Pleasant City, Ohio, rounds out your top 5 aboard the 8th. Did you catch that? All Buckeyes running top 5 in this Vet B30+ class. There you go, boys. Moving over next to the Senior B40+ class. Jason Limley from Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, after 2, 1 minute 47-second lead over hardcore Jeff Harvey, the 918 from West Union, West Virginia. Daniel Dakota, 391 from Lansdale, Pennsylvania, is 3rd. Nick Lambruno, the 582 from Morgantown, West Virginia, 4th. And 5th place, the 58 of Peter Dandria from Uniontown, Pennsylvania. That's Senior B, and that is a look at all of your amateur classes. What have you noted? Did you see anything exciting on the screen, Devin Feehan?
I haven't seen anything of the leaders coming through. I did see, I think I saw Adam McGill and Joel Hetrick come through in partially the front pack of the XC2, but other than that, we're still waiting on seeing the leaders come through again. And again, last we saw it was Walker Fowler, Chris Borich, and Cole Richardson out front, and Bryson Neal and Jared McClure not too far behind.
An hour, 40 minutes. And looking at now almost 30 seconds. And as far as when these leaders are due in, about 13 minutes. I'm liking those numbers right now. A lot of things can happen over the course of the next 13 minutes. Of course, the last check, Walker gotten around, back around Chris Borich, maintaining and holding on to that lead. Cole Richardson was 3rd, Bryson Neal in 4th. as there was a big gap opening up to there. But Jared McClure was man on a mission. Sneaky Snake was trying to make some waves and move up through the pack. So I have to think right now that Bryson Neal, if he hasn't been caught by Jared McClure, might be in the process of about to be caught by Jared McClure, and a battle ensuing for that 4th place position. Wesley Wolf still back in 6th, Marty Christopherson 7th, Johnny Gallagher 8th, Adam McGill 9th, and John Glotta rounds out your top 10 on time adjustment. Joel Hetrick is physically 10th place on the track as he's gotten back around. This young motocross star seeming to do pretty good here on the wood side of things, I guess, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I know we've seen a few motocross races this year, or at least one that was a complete mud fest.
Yeah.
So this field should be a little bit of a reminder of that. And you know, I know Joel. He, you know, coming from the motocross world, I'm sure he doesn't see as much mud as he does today all the time.
Well, not all the time, but like you said, they've been plagued with it as much as anything. The last few rounds, he has seen that, and it's also played havoc as far as his championship season. Supped water a couple times, lost a couple motors during motos, DNFing, losing, well, the points lead, and some 22 points with only 3 or 4 rounds of racing left. So his championship hopes are pretty much out the window at this particular point, not completely gone. So he just said, you know what, I'm just going to have fun the rest of the year. And so he's decided to come out and have some fun in the mud. Of course, he was hoping it wasn't going to rain. He was waiting to see whether or not it rained this morning before he drove over. It hadn't rained, looking like a beautiful day. He says, hey, let's go. And well, anyway, he gets a face full of mud on that one. He brought with him Brandon Hogue, who is an XC1, or excuse me, an AMA Pro ATV rookie in 2019 on the motocross side of things. He's riding in the College A class. Brandon actually just finished on the podium, 3rd place at Unadilla a week ago. So good, yeah, good to see Brandon out there. Not sure how he's doing. He was doing fairly decent in the early part of the race. Not real sure how that rider is doing right now. Let's check in with that College A class right now to see how that is going. Don't see him checking in for a lap complete, so Brandon Hogue must have fell victim to the rain early on out there in the wood side of things. Let's see, what's going on with that A class? Big Papa P, wow. He had a 14-second lead, now turned into a 6-minute and 15-second lead over Brad Whitehead, the 8:21 in 2nd place. Michael Lancaster, the 8:07 in 3rd. Dirk DeCesar in 4th. Chris Conklin rounding out in the top 5. But wow, a 14-second lead. He gained 6 minutes and 1 second, or should I say Brad Whitehead maybe lost 6 minutes. I think that Jeff Pickens literally gained 6 minutes and 1 second because there's no change back there between he and Michael Lancaster. So I just have to think that's all in JP's possession, I think, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely a very experienced and a knowledgeable rider for sure.
You saying he's old? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm just saying I've been watching him before I started racing.
So you've been watching him. No, you're right. He is a very experienced rider and racer, and he certainly is a lot of fun to watch, especially under these circumstances and conditions. Let's see about that Junior A class. Remember Luke Shepard? Wow. Luke Shepard goes from 3rd place on 1 lap to leading now, has a 7-minute and 11-second lead over Michael McAvoy. No, Luke Shepard didn't have a short lap. He turned a 33-minute, 37-second lap time. Michael McAvoy turned a 39.23. That's where that gap opened up at. But wow, talk about zero to hero. That's pretty good. Luke's got to be feeling pretty pumped about that one. Chandler Burnley with 5:40 out of Junior West Virginia, another minute or so back in 3rd. Josh Haney is 4th, and Caleb Edwards back in the number 5 spot as they have checked in now for 3 laps complete, at least through the top 4. Another 5 minutes back to the 5th place ride, so we'll be watching for that one. Now, what does that do for the overall and the top overall honors? Remember, we were looking at Luke Shepard and the number 25 there of Big Papa P, or 21 of Big Papa P. Well, here's the way it stands now. Luke Shepard checks in 19th place overall after 3 laps of racing complete. He is your top non-XC1 or non-XC2 rider. And then it's the Vet A class leader in 22nd place, Jeff Pickens, back there in 2nd place as far as top amateur honors. And Seth Wilson, leader of the College A, is 3rd place in the top amateur overall honors, running back in the 23rd overall position. Now, as far as Shepard is concerned in his position, how much time does he have over Jeff Pickens right now? As we look at elapsed time, 1 hour and 33 minutes and 13 seconds, 1 hour and 34 minutes and 43 seconds. So I'm looking at, what, a minute and a half or so that he's got to play with there. So Luke Shepard should be comfortable, but with these conditions, there is no comfort zone, I don't think. I mean, you would think that in a normal circumstance, oh yeah, everything's going to be great, but man, there's so many things that can happen, especially here on this final lap of racing, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Just watching him, you know, you can, it's a whole different perspective when you're underneath the helmet, and you only have so much vision with all the mud being thrown at your face, you know, especially a lot of these guys having to ditch their goggles with the mud being so bad today. So it's definitely, you know, it's a struggle for everybody, and everybody's got to deal with it.
Well, it's like you said, everybody's got to deal with it. Who deals with it the best? Well, we'll find out when those checkers do finally come out. If we're looking at timing and scoring right now, and judging and accustomed to what we've seen so far, at least on the last lap, we should be in the neighborhood of about 7 minutes, 6-7 minutes before we'll see those leaders at the finish line. But we'll see them at a couple of different points on the track before then, I believe, too, Devin Feehan. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on what's taking place here in places like the Monster Mile and things of that nature. So we're now, this race is official, 1 hour and 47 minutes into this one. I think it became official at 1:45. But here we are, official now at 1:47 and rolling on here in this final lap of racing. Walker Fowler, Chris Borge, Cole Richardson, 1, 2, and 3, and they were within 7 seconds of each other when they came through the finish line last time. They had about a 45-second lead over Bryson Neal, whom, again, I am assuming may be under fire and pressure from Jared McClure. Looking at lap times, that doesn't necessarily reflect that, but when you were looking at the aggressiveness at which it looked like that the number 2 of McClure was riding at, as opposed to the non-aggressive riding style of Bryson Neal, I would think that maybe that gap has closed back up. But, you know, we're talking about Bryson Neal here. He would be tough. To get around for sure. But there is our leaders. Walker Fowler still out front, it looks like, over Chris Borge, Devin.
Yeah, absolutely, and they are very close, those front two, and you can see Cole Richardson very shortly behind. But it looks like those front two are definitely wanting to pull with it.
Now, being out on the racetrack and being, you know, riding, you know, under normal circumstances, we say Chris is in a great position. You know, he's right where he wants to be through this last lap of racing. He can make those last-ditch efforts for passes and things like that. Have you yourself gotten in a situation where you've been in a battle with Chris Borge on the lap yet?
Yeah, actually, a few times at locals, I've been borged by the man himself. So, you know, me being in my position, I know he's smarter than me, I guess. So. He's definitely pulled that card out a few times on me.
So at the locals, never had it happen here at the Nationals so far?
Closest ever was probably last year at Steel Creek. We rode a little bit together, and you know, he definitely just has his line choice down. So I've definitely been taking notes from him.
Well, good for you, young man. And he's got, what, 75 wins, could be 76, depending on how this day progresses here in well, at Warren Lilly's pad here at the the high voltage GNCC. 3 laps down, working on 4, about 4 minutes out before we should be seeing our leaders checking in, and we'll get to talk to these guys following the race. Just want to let folks know here, trackside, we still got some things going on. We'll have an EPW race about 6 o'clock tonight over here at the finish line. Also, youth activities going to be taking place up at Team Faith around 6 o'clock, and chapel service is coming up at 7 o'clock. Weather permitting, we're going to have it someplace, I'm sure, anyway. On the big screen, we'll have Redbud from today's two-wheel motocross racing action. There'll be NBC Sports app. We'll have that playing on the big screen down here at the Specialized Victory Lane. So plenty of great things going on here this evening as far as nighttime entertainment is concerned. And we get to anticipate what tomorrow is going to bring as far as the two-wheel racing action is concerned. All right, Devin, we're nearing the completion of this one. Are you glad if you had to sit one out, this is one that you would get to sit out, or would this be the one that, I know I kind of asked you this question, so I'm rewording it a little differently. If you had your choice to sit one out, would you choose to sit like this race out, or would there have been another race that we've seen so far this season that you may have elected to think that might have been a little muddier and more difficult for you at this point?
You know, I don't want to say I want to sit out any of these races. You know, it's tough to sit here and watch, but at
I'm
the same
putting your
time,
back against the wall.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, you know, I'd love to be out here with these guys, but at the same time, I'll make the best of it.
Yeah, you man, I gotta love it, man. The sponsors have got to love you too. But so Penton, I mean, if you had to choose, I mean, there's a gun against your head. Which one would you rather not race?
Yeah, I'm gonna say snowshoe. That's one of those races, man, for me. I'll be honest.
Well, there you go. And it was wet for you guys a little too, wasn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. And like you said, I saw, I believe Jared McClure has real Bryson Neal, and I saw Wesley. I believe it was Wesley Wolf. He was charging hard, and he was not too far behind those guys. So it looks like he's really picked it up, and you know, it's pretty cool to see him there.
And that's kind of what I expected to see. The way we saw the aggression that McClure was riding in. No surprises for Wesley Wolf either. He's just out having fun right now in these conditions right here. He's been doing a lot better. ATV Moto, been seeing some better results also here on the cross-country side of things. Walker Fowler and Chris Borch checking in still. A couple of bike links separating the two, but still Chris Borch in position to make that last-ditch effort pass. But Walker Fowler has the advantages, though, as he's got first line choice coming through every hole that we come to, every lapped rider that we come to as well.
Yeah, you have to think Chris is going to be in that roost, so that's going to come into play for him.
Well, if you notice, it looked like he was standing back just a little bit, trying to stay away from that. Ooh, look at that big old spider right there. Eat it.
I wouldn't be holding that. I'm surprised about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be holding it either. She might go ahead and eat it. Might as well. My college fraternity days, one of my fraternity brothers would have swallowed that down in a heartbeat. But that's a long time ago. And I don't know. My son may have eaten it too. I don't, for the right amount of money. Anyway, here we go. We got spiders out there. We got mud on the racetrack. We got Walker Fowler being shadowed by Chris Borch. He's going to try to Borch him. I know Walker's been in this position so many times. Can you defend the Borch? If Chris has gotten the line, can you defend the Borch?
Yeah, I think Walker's definitely done it before, so he's gonna be ready to do it again today. I don't know who that is coming through there.
Is that
them? Looks like Chris.
That might be
I believe.
Yeah. That's them. That's Chris Borch and Walker Fowler coming down to the finish line. Walker just slammed into Chris Borch, taking the position. Or was that them? I don't know. Whoever it is, we got a heck of a gym. And it was. That was the checker flag, and Walker Fowler, last-ditch effort, slamming into Chris Borch to move him out of the way. A bulldozer move to take the win, as Borch nearly did just that. Borch him on that last lap. Officially, it says 2.222 seconds, but we know that race was so much closer than that. Cole Richardson checking in the number 3 spot. And there you have it, folks. Wire, it was tough to tell, but you saw him. We heard the crowd cheering over there, and we knew that something big was happening and taking place. The mud in the eye for all these guys. Do they have grit in their teeth? I guarantee you. Wow, what a day. You can see it on the face of Walker Fowler right there. That was a true hard-fought battle. That was a well-deserved win by the number 1 of Walker Fowler. A well-deserved second-place position by Chris Borch, who deserved a win as hard as he rode as well, but there could only be one winner, Devin Feehan, and today it's Walker Fowler as he captures win number 52 here on the all-time wins list. Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know if you saw right before the finish there, but I believe it was the third turn from the finish. It looked like Chris had made the pass. They slid to the outside of the corner, so it was very.
Walker came down and just slammed him, bulldozed him right out of the way, and took over the positions and took that win. Now, I'm maybe getting a little over-exaggerated on that, but wow, what a great wheel-slamming finish that we saw there coming down to the barrel. There we're looking at the number 5 of Cole Richardson, and while these guys get things sorted out and get the mud out of their eyes and out of their teeth and everything, we're going to watch this replay. So we didn't really get a chance to set the stage on what was going on. It happened all so fast as we pick it up. Here's where we pick it up. There's Chris Borch. He's out front. He gets over in some of that. He makes that pass on Walker Fowler. He comes into this next turn. He's a little hot. He goes out wide, gets hung up, and boom! Right there, Walker Fowler just comes down, uses him basically as a berm. There was no ill will, ill intentions or anything in that. He just came up, used Chris Borch as the berm, and was able to ricochet off of that and take the win away. Wow, what an amazing finish to that one as we look at the 6-time champion Chris Borch, who I'm sure a little disappointed, but at the same time had a great time out there on the racetrack. We're going to find out for sure, so stick around. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to head over to the finish line and victory lane to talk 2, our top 3 overall.
Consistent clutch feel is vital to effective starts or to confidently maneuver around obstacles on the trail. AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil was subjected to an extreme simulated start test. After 32 simulated race starts, AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil continued to deliver consistent clutch feel, and the clutch plates remained clean with no visible wear. The competitor's oil, however, allowed discoloration and significant wear after just 16 starts. AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil. Give your bike the protection it needs.
This week in Yamaha history. At the 2011 Rock Run GNCC, the field was poised for a great and fierce battle. North Carolina's Brian Cook had gotten off to the early lead, but a young champion by the name of Chris Borch, along with Adam McGill, Bill Balance, Chris Bithell, and more, were waging war as the young XC2 Pro-Am prodigy Yamaha's Walker Fowler was in hot pursuit and aiming to claim his first ever overall victory. In the end, Walker Fowler bested the boys from the GNCC from back on row 2 and marked win number 1 of now over 50 overall wins, each one while riding aboard a Yamaha. And that's this week in Yamaha history. This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Specialized Turbo e-bikes, it's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin now down here in the winner's circle, or victory lane, if you will, as we get set to talk to our top 3 overall finishers here in today's amazing VP Fuels high voltage GNCC. And man, it was an electrifying day. Talk about lots of different changes. Well, we have those. There's no doubt about it. We got Fowler, who is on his way over right now, still trying to get a little mud out of his eye and out of his teeth, as I'm sure he's got a lot to smile about here today and making his way over right now as Walker Fowler and win number 52 chalked up there. And boy, that one was a close one, man. Wow, talk about a day. This one changed. I mean, it did a complete 180 today, huh?
Yeah, so much for a dry race. Can't buy one if we wanted to, so you know, we first lap was sweet, and then it started raining, and I was just like, man, it's getting slick, and it got really dark, and I was like, every day I've ridden at home for the last 2 months has been just like that. So skies opened up, and it went from a good race course where we could actually race to just survival. Everyone was kind of train tracking, and then we get to some bottlenecks, and we just had to go. You lost everyone for a while, and then you come back on the track, and there was 2 different spots where we had to literally, the course officials lifted the banner, said go. It was like, okay, well, we're all together, and we tried to find our way back to the track, and we looked and looked and looked, and as I looked back, and Chris was like, this is the best spot, and Cole said this is the best spot, so we dove in, did the field section, got back in the woods, had another one. Chris was leading. He looked back, was like, there's no track. Like, I don't know where we are supposed to be going because there's no track, and we all just followed each other. At that point, I don't know. I mean, we're all doing it. So, like I said, they're literally ended up in the woods. There was no race course. So, finish line, he got into me up there on top of the hill pretty good, and that next corner, the last corner, I know he'd have done it to me. I know Adam would have done it to me. I know Cole would have done it to me. So I did it to Chris. We're going for the win, and at that point, I knew that there wasn't going to be a crash. It's so slippery. That was just a classic Supercross finish, if you will. We raced each other super clean all day, and then 3 corners from the finish, it got a little rowdy. But that's racing. Like I said, I'm not happy about it. I know he's not super thrilled about it. And I'm not happy that I did it myself. But, man, when it comes down to it after a day like that, you got to get aggressive. We're going for the win, championship points. So, we both went for it, and I came out on top.
Well, there you go, Walker. I tell you what, thanks for a great spectacle today. It was a lot of fun watching this one unfold today.
Yeah, it was just insane. Just want to give the glory to God. Just, when storms roll up like that, especially where we're at, it can be a dangerous situation. So he laid a protective hand over us all day. Everyone at Yamaha, GBC tires are hooking up awesome out here in this slime. It's insane. I think this guy's actually about to ride a table down the hill. That's how slick and muddy it is. Do you see him? See him up there?
Yeah, he is.
I think he's so but we might get a show here. And then I definitely want to thank everyone at Fly Racing, FMF, the Piper family, all these awesome sponsors. It's just a crazy day, and all the fans. There was a lot of people out there helping. They braved the conditions. Mud fleas at their finest.
Oh, there you go. Walker Fowler does it. He takes the win here today, and what an extravagant fashion. We'd like to see it. He might not like to been that aggressive, but we as the GNCC Racing fans certainly love the show that was put on for that one. As we now bring over second place rider, nearly win number 76 for this guy right here. How about it for the old 6-time himself, Chris Borch. Chris, congratulations, buddy. What a ride out there today, man. I mean, that was some old school stuff going on out there. You guys were able to, you were right there in position in the early part of the race, and then all of a sudden you were definitely in position. What a day.
Yeah, we had a decent start, and then was just sitting back there chilling, and then the rain came. And these Maxxis tires, these new rears were unbelievable. I can just put it anywhere and just drive out. And last lap here, last couple laps, I was just kind of biding my time, just back there chilling. And I tried to sprint away at the one time, and there's a gnarly off camber, and we all got bottled up there, walked right back by, and just kind of ran them back down, and stopped and got goggles, and I was hoping that would make me to the end, but I was eating a lot of Roosies. These Scott goggles are unbelievable, but we just ran out of film, and last lap there, coming to the finish, we had the inside. I knew where the hay bale was. I looked at it the time before. I kind of pitched it in and rubbed on Walker, kind of gave him a little bump, pushed him down in the mud, and I thought I had it, and I sprinted too hard to the next corner, kind of blew it wide, and I tried to square it up, turn it, and get going, and then, he just never lifted coming to the finish, so it is what it is. I mean, it was fun just up there battling all day. The track was, with the rain, it was actually pretty sick. A lot of fun, just off camber, you got to tiptoe and just use throttle control and pick your lines, and that's about it.
Chris, good job today, man. It was a lot of fun to watch. Thanks for putting on such a great show.
Always.
All righty, there it is. Chris Borch. He is your 6-time GNCC champion, and he is second place here today at this high-voltage GNCC. And our third-place position finisher is that number 5, the Coltrane, Cole Richardson, as we're going to be bringing Cole over here next. And I'll tell you what, this guy always he's back there, always in the hunt and always in the thick of things. Cole, congratulations to you, buddy. Great ride out there. You were literally within striking distance watching this whole race and this battle unfold all day. I had to be thinking to myself, you're just waiting for these guys to get together so you can get around them.
Yeah, we got off to a great start, luckily, and got a few miles in, and I come into the woods section, go to touch my rear brakes, nothing. So I smoked a tree, went over the bars, got stuck for a little bit, and I was probably about, 8th or so in the pro class, and, worked my way up before we got to the finish. And then, luckily, I kind of rode the rear brakes. They came back, which this was a track you definitely needed rear brakes, especially when it started to rain. And, when it started to rain, we put in a real good lap. And I feel like in that whole lap, we definitely passed a lot of guys and kind of caught to the lead group. And, the last lap, I actually got into the lead, was leading, a 7-mile marker just about. And Walker, I think, dropped the third. He passed me and Boric. I kind of got, paraded up with some lapped riders, and then Walker got around us. I was in second, took a line, and kind of clipped a tree with my rear tire, and and let Chris get around me. But any day on the podium's good. Especially with the direction I thought the race was going to go, first lap without rear brakes. I'm definitely happy to be back up on podium.
Well, it's certainly a great ride to watch you ride out there today, and looking forward to seeing what happens in those final 4 rounds. But I bet you're looking forward to the summer break and heading over to France, huh?
Yeah, definitely pumped to go to Europe. Never been, and no better way than to go and race. So definitely looking forward to that. We have the riding school down in South Carolina, Camp Coker, in July. Hope to see some guys out there, and definitely strong after summer break, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, man, good luck to you, all right?
Thank you.
That's once again Coltrane Cole Richardson taking that third place position here today at this high voltage GNCC, and what an affair of events that unfolded here today. Perfect, beautiful sunshiny skies turning a little cloudy and overcast, and big heavy rain showers coming down, turning this racetrack from dusty to slick and muddy to what we see here at the very end. But it was all in all a great race, no doubt, here at the inaugural running of this high voltage GNCC. What will tomorrow bring for the two-wheelers? Well, that's still up in the air. The only way you're going to find out is to come back and join us again tomorrow right here on RacerTV.com. We'll be getting underway with our broadcast right around 1 o'clock. So until then, on behalf of all of us here at RacerTV.com and the GNCC Racing Nation, I'm Rodney Tomlin saying, great day, everybody.